Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. After the single worst performing day for the Dow since February, we're seeing North American stocks back in negative territory once again yesterday. We saw a bit of a rotation come back into play yesterday out of some of the value stocks and back into growth stocks once again, as we saw the Dow come off about 1.4% by the end of the day. It was down 473 points, led by declines in Home Depot, Goldman Sachs. Some of the energy stocks got sold off. Well, we saw very strong moves in some of the tech names. Once again, we're going to talk about that coming up. Key inflation data just out here. CPI for April, 0.9% versus 0.3% expected. The year-over-year number, 3% there versus 2.3 expected, but 0.9 versus 0.3 there on the April core CPI. Individually this morning, we're going to have a look at Fubo TV up big time after earnings blowout quarter. They also raised their forecast. Palantir back on the move, moving higher. Lemonade and QuantumScape, meanwhile, heading in the other direction. It's Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, the market not liking that number that just came out there. CPI for April higher than expected, so 1.1%, just like that for the S&P. The Dow now 0.27. You can see NASDAQ 1.8. The TSX about 0.5% here in Toronto futures anyways. At the bottom there, Ethereum having another strong start to the day, back to all-time highs for Ethereum. But yeah, if you missed that number there, 0.9% versus 0.3 for April CPI. That's the month-over-month number. And then year-over-year, 3% versus 2.3. So definitely seeing a reaction here, guys, to that number.
A little bit, a little bit of reaction. I mean, we went down to like 13.1 here, and of course, like the day I actually get into Palantir on a bit of a dip buy strategy, you're going to get this move here, and this is a NASDAQ dropping to 1.2%. Had it done this yesterday, my direct answer to the poll would have been a little bit more accurate. Obviously, we didn't get into green territory, but I didn't think we'd get to flat in yesterday's action. So it was a fantastic move in the afternoon. But that's getting faded in with that CPI number. And obviously, the market not liking it too much. I actually tried to get some short into Virgin Galactic when that started to roll over a little bit there on that number. Unfortunately, wasn't able to catch any. It's going to be a wild one today. We said this was going to be true. I know for a fact it will be. You mentioned QuantumScape and Lemonade there. I think there's going to be some trades in both directions. And let's not forget a bit about that Fubo, which just an impressive run, but you got to understand where some of these are coming from. The bounces are huge because the falls have been so big on a lot of these names. So we got to keep things in perspective. But wow, already a wild start to the day. Let's see if we can defend this 20.
Yeah, I'm already, I'm doing not really a dip buy, but I've been buying Palantir. I bought it early there. And then that was just to see if we were going to break 21. That's nothing. Our average price now 50. So we're going to wait to see if Palantir holds somewhere near this 1970 area. It doesn't look like it. I mean, that was a bad number. I mean, it was, yeah, 0.8, 0.9 versus 0.2, 0.3. So, yeah, you're not going to get a good reaction there. That's inflation. It's CPI. And some of these levels, I'm just sending out the sticky note now, some of the levels that were there now much lower because of this move. The NASDAQ was basically just 0.3 and then like bang, like that's a big flush there. So it's going against the job numbers. So everything that we thought on Friday where, oh, you know, bad data, therefore good chance that they're not going to raise the rates on the employment. But now you come up with this number, which sort of tells them, you know, really where the consumer's at. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a good one for the marketplace. But we'll see. We thought the same thing yesterday, as Neil said on that poll, and we battled back. So let's see if we can do the same thing here today.
Yeah, we'll see if we get any kind of follow through on this move to the downside as well. Not a good start, though. Pretty negative here. Before we get into things, let's get over to the desk and say good morning to Miss V.
Good morning, guys. I wish you all a great trading day. Please enjoy the show and make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let's get it started, Brennan.
Let's indeed get it started, guys. We'll look at the top 10 trader list from here at Day Trade the World yesterday. Big numbers coming out of the U.S. mainly here. NASDAQ New York leading the way, 61,000, number one. Volatility has returned. You can tell Amex, some Canadian content there. The TSX CME futures action as well, number two, 32,000. More NASDAQ in New York. NASDAQ number four. NASDAQ alone, number five. And so on. Look at OTC markets. We had Jeff Mendel on yesterday from OTC. That is why we bring our friend Jeff Mendel on to show you the opportunities available. Brazil making an appearance there down at number 8 as well. So plenty of opportunities still in this market and more to come today, it would appear. We saw a bit of a rotation, as I mentioned, guys, to kick things off out of what we thought people were kind of rotating into yesterday and getting back into some of these high valuation stocks that have been set aside for the past couple of weeks to be nice, I guess. I mean, what does this mean overall for the market? Do we see that continue today?
Well, I mean, I tweeted this morning saying like it's hump day in more ways than one, right? Like it's Wednesday, it's middle of the week, but this is like the TSN, for lack of a better, the TSN turning point. For you guys aren't going to get that. It's a Canadian thing, I suppose. Turning point in not the game, but in certainly not just the earnings season, but you get that flush out bottom that we absolutely had there. And I don't know what this number is going to do to us here. But you have to think about, just looking at Virgin Galactic, it's one of the more extreme examples. You have to think about, can this actually be sustained, right? Like you have two scenarios here where this is a blip and this was your chance to get out of a dying quail on a lot of these high valuation names. And then we're going to go right back into it being more about value, and the high valuation tech names are going to get beat up. And then maybe you're right back into that 13, 14 on, say, a Virgin Galactic. I came in here and obviously I'm sitting here, I've already taken like half of my position off in Palantir for a loss. I'm sitting here in a losing trade, about to say that I think there's a different story between a higher valuation name, which had maybe come down a little bit, that got a nice little bump on quality earnings, like a Palantir, and then something like a Virgin Galactic, which had a ridiculous valuation and makes $0 that's trying to catch a bounce today. I'd be like obviously more inclined to bet against the second push in something like a Virgin Galactic. And yes, I was shorting it at the top in the afternoon show as well. Whereas, regardless of how it goes, I think it's easier to take a stab at something which is beat up, that is a bit of a solid company, that may be more of a long-term play, and people just don't like the current valuation, thinking it may be a bit expensive. So it's that turning point in the session. If after that number we get green today, I mean, it should be, you got to think it's all systems go for some of these moves. I kind of wish I had just stuck to going long in Coinbase, because of course that's sticking around its highs. I'm not saying I'm hedged, but I got into some Virgin Galactic to the short side here, just so if this is an absolute like flush. I took some off in Palantir when it broke 20. But I think Virgin Galactic, if this market's heading back down, that's a short I'm going to want, 100%. If that NASDAQ falters today, that stock's going to get crushed.
Yeah, you got to look, and I think that's a good call. You got to look to stocks right now that were getting crushed yesterday, that did well yesterday, that may give some back today, right? So I'm already hella long Palantir, but I've been getting out on this rebound back upside. So we'll take a hit here, obviously, on this one. And we have to get, now my price is 39. We were long at 53. So anything that I get out now is for that 30, 40 cent hit, if not a little bit more. That's why I'm like, maybe we gotta get out. But yeah, no, look, the CPI number is a bad one. We were sort of expecting that for sure today. So it's never nice when it comes. But yeah, the number was minus 0.8 versus minus 0.2. You had the other one there, 0.9 versus 0.3. Either way, we're well off levels that we need to hold. So, that's what caused this NASDAQ move down. I was caught, I'm caught long, obviously, on Palantir, but I thought maybe a dip down. Like, that's why, I wrote down on the sticky note that's out now that, if we could defend this 20 area, it looks like it's pretty solid down here. But again, the game has changed. That was a little bit, worse of a number than we thought. So as far as the rebound goes on some of these stocks, like AMD, we were liking that yesterday on the rebound. We talked about that on the after show, and we got up to, what was it, 76.50 something? If this chart ever loads. Yeah, almost 77 there at 4 p.m. So yeah, back down now to 75. They get flushed out. A lot of names getting flushed out on this number. So what does it do? I think it just means that we got to put more money into, the steel, the banks, things that actually produce something. companies that are older than a decade, things like that. Those names will probably wind up working. One name that I want to check out actually, did Roblox just tank? Because Roblox had a big number yesterday, obviously up that 17, or what was it, 17 or 18%, maybe even more than that at one point. Roblox, yeah, so see that again, that one kind of holds up. But if you were dancing, you'd be somewhere around here, 76, 50, now you're down to 75 and change. So yeah, got to give this NASDAQ a chance here. Let's see if it can catch a bottom. Maybe it just did at 13,000, guys.
All right, I want to talk about the earnings season, where we are at. I mean, we've had, all the big names have reported, so we're kind of over the hump, getting towards the end of this current earnings reporting season. I read a very interesting number last night, guys, that wanted to get your take on. And that comes to the surprise. We saw, especially from tech stocks this season, absolute blowout numbers right across the board from all the big name tech stocks. They all pretty much got sold off very sharply. In the past 20 years, so the past 20 years, as far as Q1 upside surprise when it comes to earnings reporting season, 6% is the average number. So on average, 6% of companies report an upside surprise in Q1 over the past 20 years. Any guesses on what that number was this quarter?
North of 40.
23%.
Right, and I was going to say 26. Like, come on, you don't even give me a chance here?
No, but I mean, the average is 6. 20, that's a huge number.
Anytime you tee it up like that, you're expecting something extreme, right? It's almost like you should ask it first and then queue up all the statistics there, because it's always going to go like 10 times higher when you tee it up like that. But it's incredible. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Part of it has to, obviously this is a different year, so we're dealing with some circumstances which probably skew that a little bit with COVID. That's the kind of the reaction that we've had from COVID in the overall market, like that V-shaped recovery and the nature of which in which it went. Even now, like the supply constraints that we're seeing now and commodity prices moving the way they are, that's a little bit unprecedented. So I think we are in some uncharted territories to be sure with regards to that, but that's still an impressive number.
Yeah, I mean, I just go with the fact that, it's because of sandbagging, right? And not just sandbagging, but the fact that a lot of companies couldn't guide because they had no idea of what was happening. So we did get, obviously low guidance or year-over-year numbers. I mean, last year at this time, we were, not literally, but I can always say literally because of my kids, but literally, looking at the end of the world pretty much just a couple months ago, like basically 14 months ago. So it doesn't really surprise me that this, that is the case, but yeah, wow, I would have not guessed. I mean, I was going to guess 20, I was going to guess 26, but still a big number considering that historical number of 6. And I think the market's fine. We're just going to have to get through some of this inflation talk, and obviously this reopen trade needs to start pretty soon.
I mean, it's impressive as well because, we saw everything get sold, right? So, I mean, it really didn't matter what was reported. Let's talk about tech here real quick, guys. We saw, big moves yesterday. I just pulled up this one, ARK. I mean, all of the holdings in this ETF were absolutely on fire yesterday. That just tanked with, the overall market down 1.9%. I was reading last night as well that tech stocks specifically, or the NASDAQ compared to the S&P, we're off, anywhere from 2 to 4% from the highs, whereas ARK's ETF is down 30% from the highs, specifically because of obviously what is holding in it. The question, where does this thing have to get to before it becomes even remotely close to interesting? Like if it's down 30%, the market's down 2. If the market ends up down 10, where does this thing end up at the end of the day?
The thing is, we know what's involved in that ETF, right, Brendan? So we know some of the names, we know the high-flying names. For me, why would I just don't think it's a smart idea to pay probably 2% or whatever the management fee is for Kathy Wood to decide when and if, what stocks go in there, what percentage of the portfolio is a Palantir, what percentage of the portfolio, is an Invitae and all those kind of crazy names as well. I think you pay, obviously, for some experience and for the buying power that she has and able to move the market. But for me, I'd just rather be in the names. I mean, if there's any names that you guys like, it's a good time to go shopping right now. And again, if you're going to hold an ETF, maybe ARK, if you do like that exposure to the innovation and to the future, then I do think that ARK is maybe better than the Qs. But at the same time, like, you know, you're paying that fee for her to manage your money. And I just don't know if that's something that I'd ever get involved with. But to answer your question more specifically, I think you could start buying now. I mean, if you like the names, I would get in there now, start buying. Just don't make it a huge part of your portfolio, and I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, don't day, like, it's not a day trade, man. Like, if you're buying ARK, it just has to be about the long term. Like, this is exactly what she's even saying, outlaying it, that you have a very long-term look here. So if you're going to pay like a 2%, like Sean said, you should at least be aligned with the time horizons and the risk tolerances of whatever ETF or whatever fund it is that you're going to be in. Like, that's the first and foremost thing. Like, you have to have that outlook. Like, when you were investing in Amazon years ago, like, you had to be aligned with the fact that no, this is about growth, and this is about not caring about the share price, and this is about building a company that's going to be huge, and you can't worry about the quarter to quarter. If you weren't down with that, then get off. And if you were, then you're rewarded for it. And I think that's going to be likely the same thing here. But like Sean said, whenever you're tracking any of these, like, remember there was that Buzz ETF that we looked at, and then you started asking yourself, when it first came out, that Buzz ETF, almost everything, like most people, when you're managing your money, like, it's like, oh, I own this already. You have that already. Like, everything you have was already in it. So make sure you have a sound understanding of what you're getting out of investing in that fund to begin with here. And maybe it goes below that 100. I don't know. Maybe it takes it to get to 75. It had one major pullback last year that stalled at like 75, 80 or so. And would it be crazy if this tech wreck continues, and it's not even that big of a wreck, continues? Could we get down to that price? Sure, we could. I'm almost betting that Kathy would say, fantastic buying opportunities, this will be great in 10 years, because that's what she'll say.
All right, more specifically, let's drill down a little bit here. Tesla, guys, just bouncing back up. I mean, we're getting a nice little rebound here in the overall market, but I just saw this headline on Tesla coming up to draft rules on auto data regulation. So they're talking about more rules and regulations for China, and specifically autonomous driving. They're also going to release a new and improved self-driving technology. We learned about that crash in Texas going back to last month. It looks like it had nothing to do, according with some safety data, it had nothing to do with the self-driving technology in the car. But I mean, this one had a bounce yesterday, but here we are again, down 2% for Tesla.
Yeah, just, you know, looking at a daily chart here, unfortunately ours doesn't show you this reverse split, so maybe I should look at a different one here. Hold on a second. Here we go. So Tesla, you know, my concern right now is that we had this high of 900 and now we're back down to 600, right? So that's a pretty big haircut there already in the stock price. And we're just hovering around these breaking levels, right? There's a lot of stocks. We saw NIO yesterday at $30.50 when it flushed and then bounced back to $35. You saw something similar a little bit there. We were long Tesla yesterday right here at 607, and then it climbed to the close about well, it didn't have the greatest close, 616 yesterday, 665 the day before. So I can't be in love with this movement, but as you said, they did have that autonomous driving issue there. Was there a driver? Was there not? Now they're fixing a few things. I like this story for Tesla. I think it needs to be bought if you're not in it. But, you know, there's this 400 level here that is just looking kind of creepy a little bit, where I'm wondering if we can get back down there. That would cause, you know, a pretty major fall in the NASDAQ, like for it to get down to there, or a major move to happen. I don't know if we're getting down to this level. So if you like Tesla, I think it's worth a buy right now. We're below the 50-period moving average. We know it can get momentum to the backside. If you just think that if, you know, there's any sort of truth to, you know, possibly, you know, again, we'll see. They have everything's being built in China. They have the factories in Germany. There's a lot of turnaround happening for Tesla. And there's also, I still think, and this is what I was getting at, when they have their battery days and things like that, I still think there's a little bit of a, you know, some value that has to be unlocked with some of their solar products, like including what they're doing, and it's not necessarily solar, but what they're doing with homes and things like that, and charging up homes, and what he's trying to do there in Texas with the grid and things like that. I just don't want to bet against Elon, and whether or not that's going to be right, I don't know. But, you know, like if you can get a 550 bid, that's great. So what's the difference between 600 and 550 if you're going to hold this thing long term? I like Tesla at these levels. As far as a trade today, we'll have to see. I mean, this move here in the NASDAQ is not nice. So I think the 600 break probably does happen today. And then I think if you get that, you probably go to 590. So
yeah, I mean, I throw a 570 bid out there and sort of see what happens. It's not a bad way to be picking up in front of each of those dip prices when you get it. I'm kind of with you, and I think the fact that on that number, and the only thing I want to add is like on that number that just came out, of course, inflation data, 601 was this like flash bottom. So I'm going to start paying attention to some of those flash bottoms on any of these stocks that were negatively affected, just to see where the consolidation was, because then that sets you up for, either we get a nice little rebound, which it's trying to do, it's still 1.2 down on the NASDAQ, or you then get a flush out through those prices. So 600 is going to stand out, not just because it's a round number, but that's where the buy support tried to step in here. And we're coming a little bit further back in Tesla here. I'm sitting out of the money in Palantir and in the money in Virgin Galactic, and kind of wanting to let those two settle out, because I had contrary opinions about how they do on day two, and I kind of want to stick to that going into the open. But Tesla 600, watch out below, but get a bid ready if you're not in it already.
All right, a few upgrades and downgrades to mention this morning, guys. Interesting ones on here. DraftKings, this side of the board today. Berenberg liking DraftKings, 42.50 with a price target on that. Big Commerce reported. Big C, recent addition, Hanesbrands, Unity. Dollar General, Novavax have been struggling over the past couple of days. Palantir, Jefferies, how dare they, with a price target cut on Palantir, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, but where is that price target cut? Was that right, 28? So where were they before?
Like 40 probably.
Yeah, it's going to be my question. So, look, yesterday's Palantir move was absolutely incredible. Their quarter, I talked about this early, right? We were long at 1660. We were long right in here. We believed in it, but I mean, it's the same kind of story. We're long today. It's just that CPI number was just too big, and we got hit, and we're still holding it. Neil talked about that a little bit there. I'm now long in the 90s, but I was long at 2050 and got out of that one. So Palantir yesterday long here, upside, big time movements. I don't know if anybody knows the number of shares this traded yesterday, but it was 200 million shares yesterday for Palantir. So if you look here at a daily chart that was a daily chart here on Palantir, you have this low number, and then did we just tick this bottom? We'll see. We'll see if that happened. That happened in the pre-market. Obviously, that's right where we were long, back into this level. It's kind of, we just talked about Tesla having some low levels like that where you have some consolidation. So I believe that Palantir now, I've been long this name from time. I'm long, I think I just checked this, it was $14.50, something like that, my average price, right? We've been long up here. We did sell, we sold on the way up. We got some out here. We didn't get anything out in the 40s, unfortunately. But right now, I look for Palantir to take out, honestly, this 50-period moving average. If it can take that out, then I want to rock with it. And I think a 25 break at that point, because once we break through here, then either a 24 or 25 break signals a huge move back to the upside there. So I know we started the segment there with a downgrade, but that was a big move yesterday. So they're probably not going to be wrong on the downgrade. We probably do come back in a little bit here on the day, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm long. We'll see what the futures do, but we probably come back in here maybe the next couple days. I talked about the 3-day effect, and then we'll start taking it up. But like we just mentioned there, Neil, it's still $28 is the target. You do have a big seller right now at 20, so we got to get through that.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that one. There was one I kind of wanted to get to this because you saw the upgrade for Hanes, right? So, and this is sort of the other direction, where like Hanesbrands down. Look, it's not a full like $5 from a couple sessions ago, but with 23 all the way down to like an 18.50, and you get a nice little bounce back. And obviously, a lot of names had bounces, so you catch an upgrade after that, and then that's what you're going to see. Like you're going to see some analysts that are just sort of catching up or playing catch up with regards to action in the last couple of days. And so it can be a little bit misleading, I think, at times to just not also go bullish automatically. Although, as I say that, watch out for 20 big level on Hanes. Not always a good day trade because it only does 30,000 shares in the pre-market. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of interesting analyst adjustments, I think, after yesterday.
All right, guys, let's get into what is moving around in the pre-market here as we head towards 9 o'clock. If you haven't done so already, make sure you register for our absolutely free watch list. Every single morning, we send it out before we come on at 8:30. We do all your homework for you. All you have to do is log in every day, and it's all in one neat and tidy place. Fubo TV. This is a huge quarter for Fubo TV, huge move as well to follow aftermarket. And again, this morning we're up 20%, or was up 20%, probably come off a little bit here. They also raised their full year forecast. So beat both top and bottom lines and raised their forecast. With this move in the market, guys, what do we do here?
You go. I mean, I think you just go long. We saw yesterday with Roblox, we saw subscriptions up. Well, I mean, it's user base up, so this is going to be subscriptions up. 130% on the revenues added as well. We talked about paid sub growth, jumps 105% to almost 600,000. So, I mean, Fubo TV, man, what a great opportunity, I think, here to catch some people. We wrote it on, did I write it? No, I wrote QS on the sheet because, again, these levels have changed a little bit. I love that 2250 break on Fubo, which was the high. You know, I don't have it going back that far, but you can take 22 or 2250 was after the report yesterday. But look, we saw what Roblox did yesterday. That's all that I can say. This is 17% short in Fubo. It's been getting killed here recently. I mean, a lot of these charts look like this, and then you get that big bounce back, right? And so today, this is that day. This is the move. Is it too much? Yesterday, we started with Palantir down 15% to turn it to up 10%, right? So has this move maybe already happened? The best part about this is we've already been to $22 today, right? So now you're getting this at 21 on this CPI move. So I think I just put a bid. So my bid right now is at 2060 on the downside of Fubo. So if we can get down into here, 2060, something like that, then we'll look to see if 20 can hold. But right now, I want to play the momentum to the downside and see if I can pick up a lower bid here around 2050 and then see if it holds this 20 level. So, but look at this, man. I mean, the market just keeps pushing.
I mean, Sean, I just moved back on Fubo because I was looking at that sort of that same area. You look and you go to the 15, and it looks like it's going to be a good one. Previous little top before it tanked into that $14 price you would have seen yesterday in the morning. But I'm going to go all the way back into 1950 and see if I can't pick something up there, guys. But I just feel like you have to allow us to settle off, especially the way the market's coming to the downside. Find a short if you can to play the momentum. I decided on Virgin Galactic, and I mean, Eyes is going to be a different story, but that's going to be a small cap that just broke a bit of a shelf there. But I think you want some exposure just in case it flushes. I should have gone over and just shorted the ARK ETF instead of picking on space, but you kind of go to what is familiar in a moment like that. So it is what it is. Clearly, I have to have ARK on my quote board so I can jump to that one and short it instead.
Are rolling over a little bit here again. So just be aware, the market heading back towards day lows, or pre-market lows, I should say. Palantir. Let's talk about Palantir here. They mentioned yesterday in the call after earnings that they were not only going to, or were planning on, holding Bitcoin in their balance sheet, but may also consider accepting it as payment, guys. So big move, to say the least, for PLTR yesterday.
I mean, we just went over that name, and I think that Palantir here, this is a daily chart. Look, you do have, like, the Bitcoin talk, we talked about that. I thought that was a little fugazi in the morning. I didn't know why. Like, why are they putting it on there? I do understand, again, that they're, trying to be a proactive and, like, we hold Bitcoin, same as everybody else, blah, blah, blah. But they're thinking about it, which means it's not on there yet. And with Bitcoin's move upside, I don't know if it's a good idea to put it on right now, but we'll wait to see. I mean, Bitcoin is taking out Ethereum right now. Well, it's lagging behind, I should say, Ethereum right now. But look, Palantir, I love the stock. You guys know that. I think it's a great long-term hold. That's my plan now. I'm buying on every single dip. I love Palantir. I love to trade it. I think it's a great, I mean, if you're just watching the show for the first time, hi, I'm Sean. I trade Palantir. And then I just think that, you do have these levels. And it's too bad because honestly, like, I was in like a really big position here. Not really big, but big enough to be upset about this move to the downside. But I'm not upset because, I think we can hold this 19 level here today, Brendan and Neil. And I just think that we'll see what happens. If yesterday's move was not legit and it was Wall Street bets. Oh yeah, by the way, It's overtaken now. I don't think the last time I've seen a name other than GameStop or AMC, I think MindMed might have been one of the top names on Wall Street Bets when it went over to the NASDAQ that day. NVIS might have been another one, but yesterday Palantir was number one, probably going to be number one today. Top mention. There's a whole bunch of websites you could swaggy stocks. There's a whole bunch that you can find out for Palantir, but it was number one yesterday on Wall Street Bets. 200 million shares done. So, I mean, I think there's a good opportunity here for Palantir to get back to the upside. I think that the Robin Hooders right now, it's about 9 o'clock now, might come in, start picking some of this up on the low side. We're long here at 91, but we've already taken a bath on it. So let's see what happens. I obviously like a break here, 20-30 break maybe, but I want to play the momentum. And let's just check the imbalance locator quickly to see if it's even on here. And I don't see anything of worth on here right now.
I think it's a little bit,
we have
one of the things you'll get is like when you have a number like that at 8:30, I mean, it probably has people sort of adjusting their look at the open, and you might get some smaller imbalances. Look, I don't play Palantir every single day, but I had two levels I looked at. I said when it does that much volume and then holds levels in the afternoon, and we've seen that on the way up, that was definitely the case. It could be bullish. And it was the same thing with NEO all throughout last year. You'd see that kind of volume on a gap ups and then holding in the afternoon. I said two levels. I mean, coming in, the first one probably should have tested it after the number was 20. Get out at 20 when it loses. I look at the afternoon bottom here at 1960, so I have a new long in front of that price. Those are both essentially 50-cent stops. At least that's the plan. It'll be a little bit more than that on the second position here because I got 15s, but if it comes through, breaks that level, I'm going to be out of it and looking for a deeper retracement buy. Virgin Galactic, I'm still in that one. I've taken some out of Virgin Galactic because it feels like I almost have to. Like you got to take advantage of it. It's not that I'm trying to hedge this trade. Again, I wanted something to go short when that number came out. It happened to be space. It just broke through 17, so we're able to catch it in front of, again, afternoon support. Thinking that maybe that could hold. But if that floods out, watch out for this 16, 20 area. I'll take another leg out probably in the 50s and then in front of that leg. And then if it breaks 16, all hell could break loose. I mean, if Virgin Galactic next week was sitting at like 1450 all the way back to the start, I wouldn't be terribly surprised. And if it consolidated off of that level for a week or so, I'd probably be interested in stepping back into the name. Otherwise, I almost need to see it push above 20 and hold there.
Yeah, another one with an amazing move yesterday, Space. Let's bring in Arun and get a look at the market. Important to understand what to look for today in the overall market and the futures. Arun, what does this move down mean for us today?
Well, it opens up some space. That's technically what just happened. So when a number like this comes out, the whole move is essentially a guess or a projection of what the Fed would do, right? This is an inflation concern now. And would the Fed act on this sooner than later, or what was expected? So that was that move that, I haven't seen a move where the market moved 40 points off a number in about 10 years. It's been that thin. It's been a while since I've seen a number like this, or that was able to move the market like this. Anyways, so the levels I've got, 4140 is the top end level I've got. And since we've got below 4100 and cleared the stops, that's essentially what that move below 4100 did, is got rid of all the stops that were down there. That's why we got down to 4195. I'm going to mark off 4195 as the bottom end level just to see that if we can actually get back down there and actually stay down there, then we actually have some space to the downside. But until that can happen, I think you have the ability to potentially look for some longs below 4110 with 4095 as a stop. And then you can possibly look for some shorts as well around 27, 30 area, 4130 or so, risking 4140 to the upside. But again, this kind of changes the game. With a number at 830 and the open an hour later, like Neil was saying, there might be some adjustments being made to the opening imbalance, and that might change how the open comes into play now. Because given where we are, we're right in the middle at 4120. We have 20 points to the upside and about 25 points to the downside. So if we can open right here, then we have not a whole lot to do with the imbalance or with the opening imbalance. But if we get closer to one of the edges, that opening imbalance can shift us right through the zones and break out in either direction. So I'm going to keep an eye on where we're opening at 930. If we're closer to the top or if we're closer to the bottom, that might imply a breakout in one direction or not. So we'll just wait and see how this plays out. If you weren't able to jump in already, if you weren't able to jump in on those quick moves, then there's not a whole lot to do now. but the open does change the game a little bit. So I'd just wait for that.
Tarun, we appreciate it, and we'll check back in again tomorrow morning as we head towards the open here. Rahim Alani, OCI Group's joining us this morning with a little bit of breaking news as well. We have one of the names that we've been discussing. Company's been on the show in the past, and I'm speaking of Empower Clinics. Mr. Alani, good to see you. Thank you for doing this on short notice. We appreciate it. So CBDT, which is on the CSE here in Canada. Tell us what is going on.
Yeah, and trades in the OTC as well. So they halted their stock yesterday on some pending news. News came out last night. They have a referral agreement with a major airline. We have 2 in Canada, so you're going to pick. It's going to be either Air Canada and WestJet. And the fact that it's someone that does 200 countries probably means Air Canada, but we'll see. But essentially what that means is now you and I travel, you need to have a 72-hour test, negative test.
Right.
You take one of their tests now with you. You can pack it in your suitcase, you get on your flight, you're coming back home, you do a 72-hour test, you send it to the lab, and it's right back at you, and you've got a negative test, and you can get back home.
And is this going to be a Health Canada thing that needs to pass, or FDA as well in the U.S.?
So both in Canada and the U.S., when you are taking a flight, depending on what country you're going to. Now from Canada, you want to go to Spain, you want to go to the U.S., you're going to need a negative test to get into certain countries. And again, coming back into Canada, you're going to need to have a negative test to get into certain countries. So the important piece here is that when you go to Air Canada and you say, what do I do here? Air Canada will have a link saying, hey, we can refer you to Kai Medical Labs, which is now owned by Empower.
Right.
You go there, you hit the link, it'll take you through there, and now you have the ability to purchase this test, get it all done through the lab, and essentially do it all yourself.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So CBDT, we showed you the chart there, guys. Again, trades on the CSE. You can see .cn in our symbology here on our P-Pro 8 system, but halted yesterday. Did it actually trade yesterday, or was it after?
No, it didn't trade yesterday. It was halted from the morning on. So it traded at about 58 cents the day before on Monday. Traded around the 58 cent range. It looks like it's going to open here in the 60s. And it's a strong volume name as well.
So halted currently, but we are expecting to reopen
Premarket
by the open at 9:30 this morning. Rahim Alani, OCI Groups. Good to see you once again. We'll fist bump there because it's still. Thank you. Let's have a look at some little ones maybe today, guys. We mentioned this simply because it's a name that does all kinds of volume on a normal basis. You put a news catalyst behind it, just gives it even more reason to be on watch today. CBDT, guys, do we look at this one today?
Yeah, I mean, look, great points there by Rahim. It's halted. Is it currently halted?
It's currently halted.
Yeah. So we do like stocks on reopen. Maybe Neil, if you have the chart there, I don't have it, but that's an interesting news story. I wanted to talk about MDRR, so I'll do that, but I'll throw to Neil for right now. I just think that that could be a game changer. We don't know how long, like Rahim was saying, how long is this going to be a part of sort of the FAA or government, rules and regulations that you do need those tests. I mean, people flying around with vaccine cards. We don't have anything like that here in Canada yet, so not really sure what's going to happen. But hey, a major airline, he dropped Air Canada. For those of you, that's like a United or American. It's our biggest airline here in Canada. So Neil, I think it's good news.
Yeah, I think it is. Obviously, we have to wait for it to hold up. I mean, it is halted, and you're going to see indicated an open of 65 cents, right? But that's just, that lot can change in 20 minutes or so. But it's on my radar because if it's going to do volume, it's not just trading some small caps and penny stocks necessarily in the U.S. I know that's where a lot of the action will be, but I added to my quote board so that it's going to be right here. If it does good volume, I don't care what market it's in. We can trade them all.
Yeah, let's keep that one in mind. We'll continue along here. We're getting on in time, guys. Let's go to QuantumScape. They reported a quarterly adjusted loss of 20 cents per share versus 7 cents. So wider loss, zero revenue, and they said they're going to spend more in the coming year as they continue to develop these solid state batteries, guys.
Yeah, look, we talked about QuantumScape. They missed a little bit. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. I just have to address this because we did get a super chat. Thank you, Nick, for the super chat. So we'll hit the siren for that. And you want to check out MDRR, so Medalist Diversified. They are a REIT, right? And so what they do is obviously REITs don't move too much until an actionable event, right? And we're going to have to wait for that. So for me, MDRR right now, the interesting point that you brought up, Nick, and that I've been doing some research on, apparently there's only 2 million shares right now available to trade. That's the float. So I don't know if you guys remember another stuff. So MDRR, again, an investment. It's a real estate REIT, industrial space, things like that. A little different than IHT. I believe IHT is an Amex stock. IHT, a REIT as well with low float. You guys have known about IHT. We've talked about it on the show. It's been traded as well. It's in the hospitality, so hotels, things like that. But I mean, do they kind of look similar? Yeah. I mean, I want to remember, and I have to look it up. I haven't had enough time. I was listening to Raheem there, but what caused this move here on IHT? I can't remember if it was a short squeeze or if they announced something new. But for MDRR, yeah, why not? I mean, if you want to talk about a long-term investment, no, probably. I'm not familiar in this space. Obviously, I like Simon Property Group. If you're going to have an owner of malls or anything like that, that's not a REIT. But you know, MDRR here, maybe you hold it for some sort of a payoff because it is the REIT. But this move here, you know, look at the volume spike there, right? So big volume spike obviously creates that, makes some highs around $2.80 to $3. This is building a really, really nice bottom here. You are right. I tried to add volume here. I'm going to add volume to my daily chart. You are right. It's been picking up in volume. And the last time it picked up in volume, you know, we didn't really, like, if you notice, about early March or so, when we had this move, it wasn't really started by any volume. The big volume is that move, right? And so I'm just wondering if they tried to get it to go yesterday and didn't have too much success. But look, it's at 150 right here, Nick. I think a 160 break right there does trigger it up to this 50 period, which gets you at least to 175. Look, we don't ever want to take 20 cents on a name, but it's only going to be a $1.60 name. So I think it's worth it. You have downside. I always look at that $1 level. So, you know, you have an out and you have your targets. So I think if you're willing to risk it down to $1, then you get out before it breaks, because you don't want these things to go to pink sheets, things like that, right? So if you're able to get out at $1, I like that. So if you're gonna say, I want a long in $1.50, and I think it can break, you know, some of these previous highs, that's a good ratio because you have a $1.50, $2 upside and only 50 cents downside. So I like MDRR, and thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, I was just checking both of those. Basically, no short interest. It's like 0.3%. On either of those. That
MDRR, I thought at 33%.
I mean, I see 0.33.
See, that's the thing. So I think there are, and when you have little small stocks like this, I did see on Twitter someone said that, you know, the shares outstanding were all being held, and, you know, therefore tradable float was only 2 million, and then a percentage of those are short. That's why, Brendan and Neil, like, we don't really get involved in that, but short squeezes are obviously a big play.
Yeah, the calculation used tends to be very different.
Everyone has their own little method there.
Exactly. Let's continue. Lemonade up next, guys. Another one to the. Oh, we did not do QuantumScape.
We didn't do QuantumScape.
Let's have a look at QS.
We'll have a look at QS. Maybe a similar story. No, I mean, just to go over QS, when that little flush happened in the market there, I was already looking at a 29 level is going to be key, and we just rolled over from that 29. It was a bit of resistance in yesterday's action, and then we did break down through 28. I think if we get any kind of a rebound, you're going to want to look at QuantumScape 29 for a bit of a bump to the upside, but you almost have to start thinking about, because the momentum is now down after that number, I got to start thinking about fading into this one off of that 29 area in addition to going into that long. That wasn't going to be my look because I kind of really thought that it was primed for a bit more room of a breakout back into like that 30, 31, maybe test that high and catch a quick dollar. But I'm now leaning into thinking it should be a QuantumScape in front of 29. You know, maybe you get like 70s or 80s, something along those lines. Have a bit of a tight stop just in case. I wouldn't want to be short too many of these. Going into the open, make sure you have your stop because you don't want to get blown out in case we have another one of those, I don't know, rip your face off, 930 rallies kind of thing. Like that's, to me, that's your bigger risk usually because most of these stocks are so far depressed that if you take a long, you kind of should know where your outs are going to be. You know, whether you're holding to like a 27 or, I don't know, 25 seems crazy. But QuantumScape, first look's going to be a short for me.
Yeah, so I wrote down, I just want to show you guys here. This is thanks to Trade Ideas here. We do have a short float. This is according to Trade Ideas, so I think it's probably okay. It's probably the same thing on your Refinitiv 17. There, Brendan. Yeah, 16% short here on QS, right? But today you come in and you're already seeing yesterday up 4%, which isn't great yesterday. Like for a stock like QS. They had the potential to be up a lot more. People hesitant into earnings. In the 4 p.m. show, or 3 p.m. show, I guess, I talked about possibly taking long an options play on this one, and I still kind of stand by that. The numbers weren't horrible, but again, they've already said that they don't expect profitability till 2015, things like that. So let's just watch to see what happens. I wrote it down here, and I wrote down the points, and again, that flush really, did hit. Let's see if this can even load on my 1 minute chart. But the flush did hit this. I liked a 29 break, which is right here on the chart. And then I liked even a 30-50 break, which is right here from yesterday. So that's sort of 30-40. I just thought that, again, if we were still hovering around 28.50, 28.60, something like that, then I think a takeout of 29 gets those short covers a little nervous, and then we start ripping to the upside from there, and then we really test people at 30.50, and then 31, watch out if it ever breaks 31. I mean, I just think that now that's 10% from here. You got to add $3 to QS to get to 10, to get to 31. So you're already down 5. So yeah, you're gonna have to battle back quite a bit here on QS today. I still think it happens. I like the play for options, but again, the squeeze, the Wall Street bets, like they have to get on this name. And right now, it's not doing much volume, man. 164,000 shares. Brendan, on to Lemonade.
Yes, let's now. Throwing Lucas all kinds of curveballs today. Lemonade up next. Yeah, another one to the downside today after a wider than expected loss. The company recorded a $49 million loss, net loss for the quarter, which was outside of what they expected. The estimate's 11.2% to the downside in the last month from analysts as well. So what do we think here, guys? Lemonade.
So this was one like yesterday on the rebound, to not be able to hold above that 75 was kind of like not the best look in the world. And I think that some of that apprehension was coming into those earnings. Now this is coming probably has a long way to go, I would say. So I like them in the long term. I'm a holder of them. I was screaming, and it just made all the sense in the world, even though I bailed on my original longs in like the 115 range. When it got to 150, 160, it was just ridiculous in my opinion. I was trying to say that as it happened. I've dipped back in. And I want to get some more, but I'm going to be waiting around for like 55 or 60 bucks. I think patience is going to be a virtue with this. And as far as the day trade goes, it doesn't ever do fantastic volume. So I'll get that one out of the way. But at the same time, I kind of look at this 67 area, just 67 even to the bottom, maybe take you into like this 65 for a quick scalp trade. 65 is the big level. You look at the bottom from yesterday, and you'll see most of these names not be this close to the low, right? Because they had that big rebound. And Palantir's like, what, is that $6 away from that 14 low or something like that? Space is $4 away from it, 3.5. We're right here, literally 3% away from Lemonade hitting that low from yesterday. So, I mean, I like 67. I'll probably like 65 even more for a bit of a breakdown on Lemonade. Just be careful. It's going to be short sell restricted, and it's not always the most liquid of stocks. The spread can really open up on Lemonade.
Yeah, I mean, you just went over some of the levels there. Whether you like the stock or not, I mean, if it's going to be a long-term play for you, right now is, this is the 1 minute chart. Here's the daily chart. You've just fallen from 190 like back in January. It's just a disgusting stock to the downside, but they all look like this. So when we're talking, I mean, I could call up DraftKings. We just talked about Palantir, although Palantir had the moment yesterday as well. But you know what? I mean, this is a finance company, obviously, there, Lemonade. It's insurance, right? Isn't it?
Insurance.
Yeah. So, whether or not we've seen Rocket, I mean, look how bad Rocket's performed as well, down to 17. And I'm long this name still, 21, something like that. This has been bad. This isn't, I'm not scalping this one. I'm holding this, but this one's been just a disaster to the downside as well. Just can't get going. Meanwhile, the big guys, the JP Morgans of the world, continue to work. Now back to 160. I think we touched 157 yesterday. Yeah, exactly. 157 yesterday was touch, and now you're coming back to the upside. So look, Lemonade, whatever. I just think the new tech right now, is not working in old spaces right now. Obviously, we have the oils are working, some of the energy names are working, but the EV space isn't, right? And so that's the new tech. We've seen Tesla get killed. We've seen every single EV name get destroyed lately. And I just think the same thing's happening in the finance world. Anybody that came with anything sort of innovative is getting hit right now because they don't have earnings. And you got to wait for that to come through. And I think it does for some of these companies. You just got to be more patient than maybe we all want to be.
All right, quietly yesterday, the U.S. Department of Defense removed Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi Corporation from their blacklist of companies from China. And that kind of sparked a bit of a rally in all of the Chinese names and was kind of viewed as a bit of a step in the right direction as far as relations between the two countries, political relations between the two countries goes. Alibaba here, pretty active, guys, in the pre-market. It's not really doing a heck of a lot, but definitely trading more volume today.
Baba was one that I just added to the portfolio a couple days ago and was happy with it because we got 222, I believe, on that ad. And then yesterday we jumped up to 225, and then now today you're getting back down again. So we're going to wait to see here. We're up today, but it's getting hit into that move that's happened today. But as I actually look at the chart right here, I'm actually not correct because that's not even that big of a move. I mean, we saw that number 830 come to the downside. It held this. I mean, look, it held this level. So I like you. I like you a lot now. 223.60 here. That's the rhetoric behind China, right? We talked about that over and over again. Now they've taken Huawei off, and next, more and more, hopefully, olive branches. This is what I thought was going to happen when Joe Biden came through, and just because former president, I guess, Trump there, didn't have really a policy for China. And if it was strong arm, right? So that's not going to be very good for some of these names. But Alibaba, even with the past presidency, you had a monster move. I mean, Alibaba's been a darling stock, that's for sure. But as far as the Chinese name goes, does it get the crazy moves like some of those other ones, Baidu, JD, things like that? No. I believe Alibaba is a more mature company. I believe if you're investing in Alibaba, then you're doing it for hopefully a longer term spot. That's what I'm doing. We know the records that Singles Day are having. I believe Alibaba is a great buy at these levels, if not a screaming buy. And China is ahead of the US. Everybody's ahead of Canada, so forget about it, in the recovery, right? And so I just am expecting Alibaba to come out big. I don't know if they report today, tomorrow, but Alibaba is going to come out. They're going to come out with a big number, I believe, and surprise a lot of people to the upside. So, hey, if you want to start a position, I would do it right now and then add to it after earnings, whatever way the earnings go. I'm just hoping they're up.
I only ever say one thing about Alibaba, and it's like 6.5 times EPS relative to, Amazon is more expensive than Alibaba, and you start talking about, it's just price to earnings like 2.5. It's just, China's such a big growth space. If that's the premium for the risk, then I think that's a little bit much. And I've sort of been like, I haven't bought any more Alibaba because there was that one dump, and we were all talking about that 225. I wish they didn't day trade that. That was a dump, but it was a good area to buy in, and we're consolidating, holding that level. So I just don't. If you don't have it, I'm sort of with Sean. At some point, you've got to figure that risk is going to abate, and when it does, I feel like that should be trading at least, halfway towards Amazon's valuation, and you're going to be going through the roof on Alibaba. So it is what it is. I don't know if it's going to be a day trade per se, but certainly always going to be on that radar.
Let's go to Upstart, guys. Open Door Technologies reported a decent report for them. They're down pre-market, though. I want to talk about this Upstart because another big mover here in the pre-market was up 20%, still pushing towards the highs. Big report here for UPST.
Yeah, you talk about some new tech that actually, fintech that is actually going to be somewhat strong. And this is sort of legitimately breaking out here. Once it got back above, I'll call it 105, 106, you head toward an upward trend. There probably isn't anything in its way until a 120, 125. And if I've learned a lesson from yesterday with 3D, it's that, some of these can continue to run even in this environment. I'm kind of, I'll say the word, pissed off at myself that missing out on an opportunity here when you did have that little flush on the number. It comes right back into this breakout range of 108. You could have had that in front of 106. Now you're sort of chasing this move up to 115. I think if it comes back to a 110, that's where I would want to try to defend it. But this was a golden chance, and I'm not sure if you see 108 again, you might not like it. So I want to be looking at that 110 on Upstart because it's got room to run to that 125, and there's not a heck of a lot that looks this strong. And when 3D looked this way in yesterday's action, betting against it was easily the wrong call.
So people have been banging the chat and they want us to talk crypto. So let's talk a little bit of crypto. And by the way, 40% now, and it's more than that in the populated areas, do have SHA-1 in Canada. So, I can, I talk about us being beside, I think it's 40% of Americans, I believe it's something like that, are fully vaccinated, but we're on SHA-1, and SHA-1 still gives you great coverage. So if you did want to come visit Canada, you can't anyways because all of our borders are closed. You can't even visit province to province as my shoelace is untied. Okay, so as soon as the borders open up, man, we're gonna have a big party here. Everybody's invited. Oh yeah, and I also see in the chat like Marlon and those of you guys that are already starting to drink. Maybe not a good idea before you put on trades, but up to you. I don't know how everyone functions. Maybe you get a little looser with your trades. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Watch out, guys. Okay, 42.29 here. It's been a great opportunity. Let's go a little bit longer term here. And by longer term, I mean 5 minutes here for Ether. So you touched out already at a new all-time high of 4,400. So we're going to look at that today. I think it probably takes it out every single day. This wants to bump. So, but you do have pullbacks, right? There's another pullback to 3,800. We got the pullback right there to 3,500 that we talked about. I was tweeting on this hour as this was happening, guys, just after market close that happened. And now you're getting this bump up. So, I mean, look at this move to the upside here. What we're going to look out for is a 4,200 break on the downside. That may get us back to 4. And if we get back to 4, then, I mean, I think it's definitely a strong buy there. And then you have outs at 38. So I know there's a lot of you guys trading that. Just look at it like a stock because now it's gotten way too elevated. It's 4,300. What I do is you just take away the zeros, right? So it's $43. If it retraces back to 40, then you have 38. They're not monster moves. I'm talking about Alibaba here moving like, $10, which, in this case wouldn't be that much because it's a $4,000 name, but you sort of got to look at it on a bigger scale as opposed to Bitcoin, guys, that has been not moving at all. So here's the Bitcoin chart, and this is a daily chart. So as you can see here, Bitcoin kind of flatlining, doing absolutely nothing. I'm wondering on a break again of 60,500 or so, do we switch some of our Ether, like look at this. I mean, you never want to get out of a stock that moves like this, Ether, but look at this move that this has had, like basically from $2,000, April 15th, guys. It's May 12th. So in a month, this has doubled. Look at Bitcoin in a month. Here's April 12th. So this has only gone from 50,000. Actually, if we're going to go April 15th, we were actually even higher. So April 15th was like 57,000. So we're basically flat in a month on Bitcoin and double in a month on Ethereum. So congratulations anybody that made that switch, but I'm wondering if it's time to switch back.
All right, let's go to a couple of little ones at the bottom of the watch list this morning, including this one, Minerva, a little tiny one, reported aftermarket yesterday. You can see they reported a smaller than expected loss. That's really all the news here. So 275 was resistance here in the pre-market. Above that, this 3 came into play aftermarket yesterday, and then 330. This doesn't feel like it wants to bounce, but in case it does, some levels to look at, guys.
And speaking of smaller names, Eyes back on the move, up 18% here. They had another study that has, well, I guess, I don't know. The study, you guys can read about it, but there was a pause in one of their recent studies, and they've gapped to the upside, and it's starting to come back. Look, this is what happens every single time the stock goes up, and we sort of look at it and we're amazed. It's like, look at Eyes, and then Ears also goes as well. This time there is an actionable news, so I sort of held off on this, and I was looking at that about like 680 area to 650. Now we couldn't even break that 650, tried to get to that 640. Once it rolled 615s, I kind of been saying it in the chat, I had the breakdown, scalps them out at $6. You'll see this little ramp up. I always pay attention to these ramp prices in the morning, 7 a.m. You saw that there. It comes back into that 615 area. We shorted again. Then right in front of that low, we're going to get out. If it breaks 90s, I'm looking to this cluster here at 570 as my next out. So going to get some bids down there. I'm a little bit surprised, and I don't know, I actually said this in the chat to Sean, that Virgin Galactic, which I thought was going to be, look, it was good. That little short, it hit 17. And then as I see Palantir not bouncing, on that number, Virgin comes all the way back into 1750. So I'm essentially short here at 56 because my first entry, I've already taken some of that out here in the 60s. So 56 is my price. Bumps right back up into the open. I'm like, I don't necessarily want to be averaging into that freight train because, again, it's another gap that has too much to fill to the upside to be, sort of not taking some care going into that open. So I'll stay long Palantir for 1960, stay short Virgin Galactic in front of that pre-market high at 1785 or, well, I mean 17, we'll call it like 1790 or so. But I'm not reloading in this short position, despite the fact that it's working. I don't get why you're going to get an 80-cent bounce in space and not in Palantir. Just I talked about that when it comes to the difference between the two companies, but here we are with 90 seconds to the open. That's exactly what's happening.
I wanted to look at Microsoft here as well because we wrote down 244. And remember, the sticky note's up, but I mean, a lot of these levels, wherever you want to go, it doesn't matter. A lot of these levels here on the sticky note have been busted because of that move down. I wanted to see what we were going to do here at 244, but look at this, bang, down to 242. Like, Softy got hit hard on that number. So I think it's a buy down here at 242, but that got hit a lot harder than I thought. So I'm no longer going to be buying Microsoft off open or anything like that. We're going to be waiting for a move up. I like QS through 29. We talked about that a little bit. We already holding Palantir, but we've took a bath on that, so we'll see if that can go back to the upside. Waiting for Palantir to crack through 50s, right? 1950 on the downside there. So that'll be an out on me, and then we'll wait to get longer at 19. But lots of stocks moving today, guys. There we go. We just took Alibaba breaking back through the upside. I talked about why I like that name. So there it is, Baba breaking through 25. Let's see if it holds this 23.50.
Yeah, and getting ready to get that countdown. I think Ms. V is going to be on the bell, watching that Fubo off the open as well, because if there's going to be a dip, I'd like to be able to buy that dip. It's such a strong name. We're dropping it for you. It's hump day, guys, and it should be a wild one. But 5, 4, let's ring that bell. Let's get this party started. Hopefully, we can get back to green.
All right, let's go. Okay, so right now, Alibaba obviously moving around. We'll wait to see where this goes off the open. Other than that, man, Palantir, we're watching it. It's coming back to the downside, obviously, as expected. So we're going to wait to see what Palantir does. If it flushes or not, we're looking at a 19 pickup if we can get it.
Yeah, immediately got into Lemonade. Now, I said it was short sell restricted, but I was able to get that 67 break. So every now and then you're going to, you take a chance that you're going to be able to get that fill. Remember, 65 is also a big level on Lemonade. So if it hits that, I want to make sure I'm taking profit out. So first we'll get to 66. With any luck, that should work out for me. But we're already popping back to the upside. I'm willing to sort of dig in a little bit to this one, believing in the short side of the trade. Virgin Galactic is the other one we're in. I'll get to eyes, but that's sort of calmly moving in my favor. Bit of a slide down, so I want to stay net short this name as Palantir is breaking towards the low. If that's going to break the low and stop me out, I want to make sure the short bet that I have on in space is the hedge, and I can add to that position hopefully here right at VWAP.
Yeah, okay, yeah, same thing here. We're watching some stock here moving around. Stuff moving now. So we do have our Palantir long. That's hopefully going to be good. And we're just watching a few other names as we go right now. So Palantir, Alibaba on my watch as well. We just took a Fubo TV long. That's looking like that's going to be good at 2060 right here for Fubo TV. A nice little bounce back in the market. Don't know if it's going to last though, guys.
Yeah, I mean, immediately was looking at that Fubo and didn't get the trade, but Upstart, which gave you, I saw someone in the chat say there was this little spike down that just gave you like a 112 right into 115. I'm sitting back here looking for that 110 area entry, which could pop in any second. There's gonna be a limit to how many positions I can take off the open, and this will likely be the last one. If I get this, I might not be getting into Fubo, but already break, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? I was sitting on the bid there, right in front of 110, and just almost got picked up, and then it just bounced away from my order. I might have missed the boat on that little dip on Upstart. That was kind of ridiculous. I mean, the spread was only about, I saw the spread is only about 20 cents or so, but I was on the bid and couldn't get that fill.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Fubo to give me a little bit of a lower fill here as well on that one. So we'll wait to see where we want to go there. But right now, Fubo, nice little runner, 2060. I'm waiting upside here. We'll see if it can get going. Not sure if it will or not. Palantir, really not doing anything here. Maybe 75 is the number we got to look at here for Palantir. So we could always go a little longer right now on this name. So we'll test it here. We're still going to get out if it breaks through 50. It looks like it's going to happen again. I'm not putting on any sort of a significant trade until we get to 19 even or somewhere around there and see if there is a hold of that level, but it looks like it's going to hit it to the downside right now. So here it comes out probably at 1950. So let's hold off hope here for Palantir. You go back to yesterday's levels. Here's 19, so that's what we want to wait for. It's actually a bit lower. It's 1880 and change. But if we break through 19, that's going to be no good. So let's wait for Palantir. We're just baby longs now. Fubo trying to work as well. That's about it for me right here. What's up, Brendan?
I saw this one in the pre-market, guys. AMC moving off of 10. So big volume coming in at the open there. Back to the upside for AMC. Did absolutely nothing yesterday, but volume alert there for AMC.
I will flush down the toilet. That's going to be Upstart and Palantir. Both those longs on the dip buy is going to be no good. It's the shorts that are coming in. It is what it is. I mean, it's one of those markets where we're not screaming to the downside, but Lemonade is. And here we are. It's like right at that 65. Am I going to get shares when 65 breaks? Can I get them? Yeah, I actually was able to get some shares there at 65. Now I hung on to some of that 67, so you are going to see my average price be at 65.50. But we've added to that position. We said there could be trouble for this name. You look at the daily chart. There's probably some support at like 60 even. I think that's like an ultimate target, but I want to dig into the south side of this one if I can. Like I said, the shorts are coming in for me, but Virgin Galactic is back up above 1750, so that defies some expectations. Eyes is bouncing back over 6. I'm reloading in front of those teens.
Okay, yeah, so Palantir just get crushed there through that. Oh, sorry, we are on Alibaba right now. Yeah, we're looking at Alibaba. This is getting close too. Neil talking about some of the shorts working today. It looks like Alibaba's short might be the one that's working as well. We do hold that one still. I did have a target out on the downside of 223.50. We're getting pretty close to that right now, but we're only long right here at 30, so it's not the end of the world, even if it does go down there. I think this is worth a shot here. I do like Alibaba, and we talked about why. Fubo TV, we did get a little piece of that out to make a little bit of money there. So $20.97 off of a 2060. So that's a 30-cent win right there for FUBO. And then we'll just see if it can hold upside, man. We know about the short interest on this name. I thought it was a good report, but again, you're already up that 16%. So Neil, maybe this one doesn't hold after all. But I do have a lower bid. We're going to see if 21 breaks on Fubo.
Yeah, and speaking of breaking to the upside, well, I mean, Virgin Galactic's moving as well, but sort of in control at 1765. Eyes off of this 575. I was just taking a 40-cent winner when it bounced hard on volume back into that 615 area. So once again, I've reloaded. I got 10s, well, 9 halves, I suppose. 9 halves is an average price. Look, if this is going to retest that high of the day, I want to be out on a 25 break and then allow myself to make a separate decision on that high break, because I've seen these stocks take the top off on me, and then I missed the chance to get back in because I'm too pissed off at myself for holding a little bit too long. If it flushes from here, fine. We got the same targets, 90s and then 75s on the way down. So so far so good on eyes. It's those longs which have been a pain on my butt. And Lemonade, I don't know, we're short at 65, it's at 64. I want more than $1 on this trade. Brendo?
Lordstown just popping up here, guys. Heads up on Ride. It's still down 0.5%, but moving back to the upside. Another one that had a big move yesterday. You can see the top up there around 780. They said they're going to have to restate their latest earnings because of the changes the SEC made regarding accounting for SPACs. So heads up on Ride, guys.
All right, we just took another long here on Fubo, and it may not work once again on Fubo TV. So we'll wait to see here what it wants to do. If it's going to break through 20, then we got to get out of this one a little bit here. But we did take a long there on FUBO. This is our bigger spot. You can see my average price right now, 32s. So we did take an average price there. We've already taken out some, but we're long at 32 now on FUBO. Maybe that was the flush, maybe not, but it does. I don't. We'll see if it wants to go. We're lucky enough to take a nice little win on BABA as well. Palantir got flushed out. We talked about that one. Alibaba 224.50 now. Look at our longs. We're long at 223.96. We like that, so we're in the money now, 60 pennies. Probably worth taking more and more out now as we're going upside on Alibaba. I do have an 80 target, and then I want to watch this 225 that we were talking about initially there on Alibaba. But again, we're really watching this NASDAQ here, because you want to crack lower, man. This thing has a chance to break low levels as well. So Alibaba right now, getting some out, a nice win for us on that. And then Fubo TV and Palantir both going to be negative here, especially if we break through 20. Not good. We just took out another piece on a move back up, but Fubo looking weak today. Was not really expecting that. I did think that we were going to go upside. We've seen some craziness yesterday.
Yeah.
Was expecting it today, but didn't get it.
I mean, I'll fist bump that notion, because I thought Upstart was going to have a bit of a bounce as well. You got to have a stop. Hanging on to these short trades. Eyes, look, it's rinse and repeat. It had that 615 area. It's 1, 2, 3 separate shorts. It's same first target at this cluster off of this support break at 595, and then it's a second target right at the bottom end of that range here, up in front of 575. And I'm still saying that short. If it goes any further, I'm looking 50s and 40s to the downside. If we can catch a 60-cent win, that 10% mark, it's great. I mean, the volume's okay. I actually thought this was going to do a little bit more volume than it has off of the open, but it's still pretty solid. You really can't complain about it. Lemonade, and look, separation of worlds matters in trading. Don't trade your own book. One of these days, I'll tell you a story about a trader who will remain nameless, who was completely impossible to separate the stocks that he owned from how you would trade intraday. Look, I said Lemonade was going to be short. I shorted it here a couple of times. I think it goes to $60 today. You know, I'm going to hang on to these 65s, probably at least until 61 or so, and then look to maybe even reload. I might put a trail if we break 62.50, but until we get there, it's all systems to the downside. And some of these names, the bounce that it got, and we talked about this, the bounce that Lemonade got in terms of yesterday's action, and to come right back in earnings and be that close to that low. It's one of the only names I could find that was in that bad of a shape, just relative to what the chart looked like. So testing next level down seems like an obvious pick for me. A couple of times short, a couple of times winners. This upstart, though, you got to have an out. I had mine. This is what the 15-minute chart looks like for me. Am I going to dig into it? Absolutely not. I'm going to get out and look for another entry. I look back to previous resistance and we'll go like 100, and then you have this little dip in the aftermarket to 102. I'd rather take two separate trades and just dig into one and hold it all day long. So if Upstart can give me anything close to that 102, that's where I'll try to get into a long position for the second time, rather than holding at $10 against me.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to watch this trade here. I'll probably hold on to a little bit of Palantir. We just did take another long down here at 32s. We'll wait to see what happens here on Palantir. But the long so far, you know, we've tried it. We got out at 1950. We talked about that over and over again. Fubo also missing the boat here on Fubo. We got out. We got out of some of our trade. We're still long here, Fubo 2021, but we did get out of some of that on that break. So small hit for Fubo, not big enough to worry about it. I still think there's some upside. I was looking on where to get long on Fubo, and I just don't know a key level here to hit. I'm thinking 2050 if we take that out. That's basically VWAP here. 2050, another long spot here for Fubo. Let's see if that will work. What's up, Brendan?
All right, volume coming in on this one as well. QS just popped up back, I guess 27 coming into play here, which was that spike low for QuantumScape getting sold as well, guys.
Yeah.
What? Oh no, okay, that's annoying. That's kind of on me. I should have had that one. I did not get triggered because I thought I had my stop trigger on QuantumScape. I only had the upside one in case it broke the upside. I was looking at sort of bracketing it. That's a figure of speech. We actually have to put two separate orders there. I'm now actually into that upstart to the long side. If QuantumScape comes back up, I'll play that same trade where I'm fading first, then breaking out 29. But it looks like it headed down first. Virgin Galactic starting to roll over here now. I only took it out once in front of 17. Since then, have sort of got some more shares each time it tried to roll past this 1775. So I'm short 1750 is my price on Virgin Galactic. And I said if it's going to be a down day in the market, this is one I want to pick up. This is one I want to be on the south side of. So Lemonade, Eyes, and Space back into Upstart on the long. That's at 103. We'll see how that one goes. I want to dig in twice as opposed to dig in once, but it's already starting to work against me as well. Needs to hold that 100 level for sure.
Yeah, okay. I thought we were going to go maybe to Valeria, but when we are, we can. I have a 2050 ready to go here on Fubo. So if that can go, we'll go. And then just to check back, man, our Palantir, like one last shot, and then we'll revisit it. Hopefully we've watched Palantir get going before. I thought there was a chance here that we were going again off this 50 level because you did have that one big green candle, but look, hard downside move. So for today, for Palantir, guys, this stock may be, it was just such an epic move back yesterday. I don't think any of us, even me, that we love Palantir, was expecting that from these bottoms. So right now, we're going to wait. It's going to break 19. We're going to get out again on another bad trade. They're trying to hold the long. Doesn't work out. We'll give back some of what we made yesterday on Palantir. But you do have these areas right here, right before their earnings of 1830. If you didn't get long Palantir yesterday and you're like, oh man, I missed the boat, I think there's a good opportunity maybe today if we do get into this 1850 area for Palantir. So very nervous about this one still here today, guys. Miss V, what you got?
Oh.
Hey, Sean, Oxygen is going to the upside. Stock is up around 6%, guys.
I guess I'm assuming there's no new news on Oxygen. It's just one of those it keeps on spiking to this same price level. I mean, if it gets to like that, look, you're going to see it time and time again. This is an easy one. You get that flush here, bottom 1065, and then it's just been resistance every single time it gets to that price. How am I not already short when it does that move? Obviously, I wasn't paying attention to it. Thank you guys for pointing it out, but that's always going to be a reversal. At some point, it's taken out that 65 and you're going to the long side. Until it does, if I'm day trading it, I'm going short in front of it. It's probably not going to give me 45s because I'm just running my mouth for the last 10 seconds instead of getting into it. So I'll probably miss out on that trade and then look to maybe come back to it at 1065 for what will end up being a breakout at some point. Like Akigen's tried like 4 times at least to get to that particular price. I think when it does, people are going to be rewarded, but I got to stick my toes in the water for that short almost every single time it gets there because it tends to make you that money, which it would have if I had it. So there's that.
Yeah, just telling my wife she's looking for some planters and stuff like that. I said, check Costco, man. Okay, all right, so COST, trade Costco, go to Costco. Costco, very good. What's up to Costco vitamins as well, the Kirkland brand there. Maybe we will look at Costco soon. But okay, Palantir had a chance to go there. It didn't. We didn't get any out, obviously. We're waiting for this to pop through. I wouldn't mind getting some out in the 30s if we can. We're long at 25. And again, part of trading, guys, is licking wounds, right? We don't normally have any losers on board too much anyways, but when we do, you gotta try to like make up for it on bounces. So, you know, it's been a big run for us, but today Palantir looks like it wants to go to the downside. I know I'm just talking about Palantir. My Alibaba got squeezed out, and then Fubo basically, you know, flat on the stock. I mean, this needs just to go a little bit more. I like a 20-50 break. So right now, Fubo, Palantir, and actually I want to look at NEO when we get back. What's up, Brendo?
Norton LifeLock, I just noticed here. NLock on the NASDAQ up 5%, just made a day high there. Another one that reported, looks like Bank of America with an upgrade on this one as well. So NLock moving, guys. You want it to be one way, but it's the other way on Virgin Galactic, and that's just how it is, guys. Look, we talked about this when the number came out. I wanted something, and I said I should just punch short on ARK, but it was Virgin that we decided to take, and 17 is the only place I've been getting out in front of. In case it makes a higher low here, exactly in front of that 17 even, I'll probably try to take out another fifth of the trade there, and then low of the day, maybe some out in like that 85 range. I'm holding for a breakdown. That it breaks the absolute low here. I don't want to be adding necessarily any new positions unless I really, really love them. So Virgin Galactic, I just got that upstart. I was going to add to this in front of 100, thinking it was screaming to the downside. Now we're consolidating off of this level, and I have an offer here to get out. The afternoon high was this 106 area. I have an offer to get out right in front of that because of that, you know, this means holds 106. You had 106 as the top in the aftermarket, so I want to make sure I get some out there. If I do that, I'm not buying back in until we actually test 100 even, because this is a 103 long in front of that 102 area. I want to leave room for that 100 level. So it's a bit of a scalp trade, and then look to see if we can't get back up to 110. It might be a pie in the sky thinking we're getting back to 115s. I'd be very, very happy if I get $5 or $6, given the initial weakness that this has shown. Lemonade has come back, still in the money on that short trade. It's come back to that 64 level where I got out. I'm still holding on to it. I think if it cracks 65, I'm probably not going to add it at 65. I might wait to see how it does at about that 67 area. It's already been a nice little winner. I'm sitting in front of 61s. If Upstart goes, scalp trade it first, and then see if we can hold on for about 5 or 6. Not necessarily a $10 winner, I don't think.
Yeah, no, we can't have huge. You have a $10 winner on?
No. I thought. Look,
I was like, nice.
I thought if it broke out, it was going to give you that 10, or at least if that initial dip had held at 110, you'd break 115s and hang on for 20s. Given how far it's pulled back here, I'm kind of tempering my expectations. If it gets back to 110, I'd be looking at like a $5 or $6 winner instead, and you take what you can get.
Roger Dodger. Okay, nice move upside there. What's up with the LA Dodgers? Cleveland Indians playing nice ball right now. Blue Jays nicely win yesterday against the Atlanta Braves. And I hate seeing baseball games. Why? Because I see other people in the stands. And unfortunately, we cannot go. That'd be a cool Trader TV outing, that's for damn sure. But right now, let's go cowbell, because there hasn't been much of them. But there's Fubo, a nice breakthrough, 2070. 2050 is the price that we wanted. And now we're going to the upside on Fubo. We're long at 2050 now. We did hold some of these, so that was a good hold. We talked about why we like that name. And then finally, Palantir, we picked them up at 908. We picked them up at 920. We told you that we were going to go one last straw there, trying to defend. Let's get some more out at 39 if we can. There it is, nice little out there at 30. Did I get it? Yes, I did right there. So a nice out at 39. So that's a nice little 16 penny winner. To go with this one is 30 pennies. So we're going to wait to, oh, go Fubo, go Fubo. Nice win, man. We are back from the dead right now. Hit the sirens, man. The market is back. Hopefully we can get going just down that 1% now on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting a bit of a bounce. Look, it's a decent bounce. I'm thankful that the pick I have for a couple of the short side, but one of them is going to be Virgin Galactic, is holding up and checking right at VWAP. So I'm going to maintain. I'm not changing anything on that trade yet. I do have to start thinking about, like, this eyes trade, which is slowing down a little bit. The small caps, I'm not ignoring the positions, but when you get one of these, and I get one of these that's in the money initially, it consolidates off the bottom, I tend to feel pretty careful, feel pretty good about it. So I don't have to sit there worrying about what's going to happen next. If it pops into 6, I'm okay shorting any kind of strength there. We'll go, thank you very much, Sean, because it looks like we're going to make some cash finally on that upstart. You said the market was going to the upside, and finally upstart continues there. Pun intended. I think maybe 110 is going to be a place where it has some resistance, if only because that was such a great dip price. I was like, why did I get that in the pre-market? So if I can catch that, I'll be all over it, taking that $6 winner. We'll take what we can get and then throw you guys to Brendan.
A little quiet, but Big C, and I mean quiet in volume land as far as Big C is concerned, but just popped up on the radar. 48.5 got broken there on a big volume spike. You can see coming in at the bottom there. But they reported after market yesterday, guys. Big Commerce, 4%.
They're loving
I said I would do it, and the first time it came, I missed the trade and would have been a winner. The second time, I'll go into it. That's going to be Ocugen here. I've got it at 10.46. I actually hate my price. It should be like 50s, man. Because when 65 breaks, and I showed you guys that look, I'm not going to go back to it on the 15-minute chart. When it breaks, that's a long for me on Ocugen, and I kind of feel like you have to give that one some room. Here it comes. My hands are off. Well, you'll be on the keyboard because I'm going to reverse into a long trade if it goes there. If it does reverse and start to slide back down, I'll only add on weakness below 50. Otherwise, it's clearly just a reverse to the long. Upstart, hanging out at about 4 in the money. Give me that move to 109. That's what I'm looking for next, guys. And Lemonade, yeah, whatever. It's back to over $1 in the money. That one looks like it's, oh, here we go. Ocugen just tested that 50s. I'll see if I can't get back into some more shares on weakness. I want to see it test 65 and fail before adding any position to that short. So short Ocugen, short Space, short Lemonade, and short those eyes. Only long I got that isn't the buyout is Upstart. That needs to get going.
Yeah, UPST there. Alibaba did come out. So we were flat on Alibaba after all this trading-wise, which kind of sucks because we're right now back to where we like the stock. So I'm going to wait for 225.50. 225.50 is going to be one of those trades on Alibaba that I like. U.S. government seems to be easing back. We don't talk politics on the show, but as far as it relates to stocks, I think it's important. Whether or not you believe, that China is ahead of the U.S. or behind the U.S., Alibaba, I believe, if we could double check, I think its earnings, I think it's going to be actionable tomorrow, right? So yeah, tomorrow morning. But they report weird times, I guess. But it'll be trading tomorrow, so it'll be in tomorrow's numbers. But 225.50 right there, I like it. I think Alibaba surprises to the upside. I've talked all about that. So before market open, thank you, Brendo, for that one. But look at Fubo TV. This is the one that we're talking about. Let's go to the moon, man. We talked about this on our sticky note. Follow me on Twitter, and you'll be able to find this. Look what we noted, 225.50. We're not there yet. 222.50, but the reason why we like Fubo, short interest, big win yesterday on the earnings report for them. So we did have to get out of some on the break at 20. There's no doubt about that. But right now we go back long here, 2050. We're at 21 and change for Fubo TV. So let's let this one ride. Our Palantir's back into the money right now, and we're going to watch Hertz is moving as well, Brendan. HTZGQ on the pink sheets. We'll look at that for you. And then right now Fubo taking it out, guys. Let's see if we do get to 22. Big win here for Fubo TV.
Yeah, curious if there's news on that Hertz. We know they had that. They got some news on some financing, that restructuring, of course.
Right.
I don't know if there's anything new. Still on the low of the day for Virgin Galactic. So every time the market bounces up, I just have to check in on it just to make sure we're still hanging out around those lows. Ocugen is the one that's actually running here, guys. So as it gets toward that top, remember, for me, I don't always do this, but the plan of action at that 1065 level, I'll show you guys here. If it breaks, I like the reversal into a long trade. It's going to stand out like a sore thumb. It's tried so many times to get there. Shorts have been pretty good in front of it. I got the second one. It has not worked yet. Now, it's basically flat for me at 48, and it's sitting at 50s. But if it breaks 65, I'm turning into the long. I still pretty good. Only $2 in the money on that upstart now, as it looks like it's peeling back a little bit. Brendo?
Okay, so the auction has been completed. That seems to be what the story is here. Top right corner, the bankruptcy auction won by Knighthead and Certeres, according to Bloomberg, for Hertz, guys.
There you go. That's the news. And, Brendan, you're good luck, man. We'll go with the whiz, as we like to call it. The second Brendan comes on, it's like I always get one kind of fill that's in the money right after. That's going to be my second bid in front of 17 on Virgin Galactic. And throw another one down here in front of the low of the day. With 17 breaks, I'm looking 1685, so probably like in the 1690s or so, low 1690s. See if we can't get that out. That'll be like a 60-cent winner down there. And then a hold, the last of this trade, through the low of the day, just to see if it can't break down. Why? Because look at the gap. I mean, you had support in the morning, which double bottomed at like 16.20 or so. I kind of feel like if we take that low out, we're heading toward that 16.25, and I want to take advantage of it if it does. I said the only good long I had was that upstart, and well, it's only good for so long. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to scalp some of that trade. It holds VWAP, it holds that pre-market low. Now it's sliding back towards this low of the day. I like that 100. If it gets down there, I'm not longing 03s again. I'm looking for like 01s, maybe 01.5 in front of that even $100. So this will be like that'll be the third stab I take at upstart to the long side. Will be like 1 for 2. Hopefully we go 2 for 3 and we get that run back into 110, guys.
So as I was hyping up Fubo there, we got out. So, I mean, that was a good one. We're holding a small part now. That goes $1 in the money for us on Fubo. Like, you got to kind of think about taking that. That's 5% up from this level. So that was our in there, 2020. And then again at 2050, we get out at 21.29 there as now it falls back in. Remember, we have the short interest, right? So you're going to get squeezes like that to the upside. And when you see that kind of action, guys, it's an actionable event. So you got to, let it try to run. And then as soon as you start to see it turn, which is unbelievable. This is a 3-minute chart. Let me put it to a 1 minute. You'll be able to see it a little bit better there. When you could start to see it turn, like it stopped at 39 there. And then I basically just limited down and got out at, 30, I guess. So, that's a good price for me. Normally I'm out at 25, but it was screaming, like literally, I mean, you watched it. It was screaming up to the upside there. So we wait for it to retrace back and then get out. So right now, Fubo back down to VWAP. We'll do a little more work there to see if that's necessary. I just talked about HTZ GQ, Brendan, and that was about 2 minutes ago. Okay, and so since then, it's up almost like 80 cents on $4. So what the hell? I have no executions on this. I don't like to trade these kind of crazy things on the pink sheets, but we do have Jeff Mendel on, and we'll talk to him about this. Maybe we could get him on.
That's crazy.
Why don't we get Jeff on if we can, guys? So we can send him a message if you're watching there, Maggie, and we'll see about getting Jeff on because Hertz right now a big move to the upside.
And that's the advantage. Why is this one of the best communities in the world? Because we'll get a move on the pink sheets. We'll literally get our source there to talk about it, inform you guys. I apologize. I saw someone saying in there, I think it was Brittany, that I jinxed Ocugen. Look, all I was trying to show you is that resistance level at 65. I'm a day trader. There's no way I can look at that. You don't think about shorting that 65 level. I'm not rooting against anybody who has a breakout long here. If you got it, you're still in the money. I got some out in front of VWAP. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm just telling you guys what we see here. That's all we do. If this broke my back on the short and I get that top wick, I'll show you that as well. But for now, that one looks like it's rolling back in, which it's done time and time again off that 1065. Did I hear Brennan?
Yeah, somebody was mentioning that IHT in the pre-market going crazy again today. Halt fest on that one. Here's another one. RMED, RMED, another one with all kinds of halts already. 70% for RMED, guys.
Also, I see you're right, Richard Camino. Look, I don't have to apologize, but I'm Canadian. We apologize for everything, man. That's just how we roll.
Oh, sorry, I missed what you guys were talking about. I want to go over to MDRR there because that was another one. Brendan messaging us today. So nice little move. We did get that super chat on MDRR, and it was a nice move to the upside there. Brendan saying IHT is halt fest again, and yeah, look at that, halt again. We'll see what it does now. Still up that 4% again. Like, congratulations anybody that's been on this one early. Not just today. Like today it was $6 up to $7.50. That's a good one. And then you look at the daily chart. Yeah, 750. There's that high again. You break out there. Maybe you do go to 850 today. So watch out for IHT still making moves, guys.
So I want to, You guys see how many positions I'm in? I know you guys are hauling. It's like, check this symbol out, check that one out. Almost can't. I looked at IHT and I was like, I don't know if I can get involved in this because sitting in Lemonade, I got eyes. Oxygen's kind of cool right now. Virgin Galactic is cool, but Upstart is starting to be a little bit of a concern breaking that low, and I want to re-enter it. But I think IHT was really good after it settled down on those halts. Like once it could stay open for like 5 or 6 minutes, you could play off that range. So that was a chance there at 750. I think you got to look back and just say whenever it happens, as long as it holds this actually let's call it like 650. 666, 650. As long as it holds that level, you're probably still looking at a breakout through the top. That stock is crazy. It can never seem to stay open. But as I mentioned, Upstart, it is coming right back into, I don't know. It's starting to get close to getting back into some more shares of this trade. I just reloaded on Lemonade, which feels pretty good to the short side. This Upstart long, if we can't make a hard bottom off of 101 and 100, might be bail city for the second time on that one for me. Lemonade, we always said, well, not we always said, we said we were going to be looking for only shorts. It comes up to VWAP, starts to roll over. Yeah, I'm going to add to it when it does that. This time, if it gets down to 62.50, I'm not just going to stare at it and think about a trailing stop. I'm going to take shares off in front of that level because you got to start taking profits. If you don't get that ultimate flush, we're now almost at 10 o'clock, guys. So, that opening rush has happened, and I don't want to stare that gift horse in the mouth, which we've done from time to time. And maybe I did a little bit too much here at 62.50. The shorts have been fantastic on Lemonade, but I've been taking those small cuts at it. Let's see if we can't get a bigger chunk out in front of 62.
Okay, Palantir coming back to the downside there. Just watching out what's happening there. Fubo, we're holding. It's a small piece now. We talked about getting out of that one already and looking to do some more. We talked about NEO. We wanted to have a look at that one quickly as that's a popular name coming through. Alibaba doesn't look like it wants to take out the high there, obviously, as the market's coming back in, right? So we will get out, just making sure that we do have a Palantir trigger to go. It's near that 20 level. Come on, Neil. It's not a New Zealand stock. It's a New York stock. So today, down bottom, $34. We've seen that hit a couple days, like 34, like this 34, 34, 34. It's everywhere, 34. So that was tested today. That was a golden gift long. We missed that one. But if we come back to 34, we like it. Look at the market fading off again. We saw NEO yesterday, guys, touch $30.50 yesterday was touched for NEO, so that's a level you got to watch out for here too as well. Brendan is ready at the big screen. Let's throw it.
It's 10 o'clock, guys. Let's have a look at how things stand at this point. We're still in negative territory, but off the lows, which is good to see. The NASDAQ, though, still struggling here. Both the composite and the 100, you can see 1.3, 1.5. To the downside for the 100, leading the way so far. Small caps also struggling. The Russell 0.8 to the downside, along with the S&P 0.82, the Dow 0.6. You can see the TSX here in Toronto down just 0.3 to start the day. A couple of things we were looking at in the pre-market, if I can switch my screen. There we go, finally. Fubo, guys, yeah, we did see that nice bounce off of 20 actually. Wanted to point out this level here, 2050 was a bit of a pivot if you go to the daily chart, so it did break back through 2050 back to the downside, so that was an area it might have held, but no such luck. QuantumScape, we mentioned big flush off the open, did get all the way back to 28, but looking like it as well wants to roll over again, guys.
And I see you guys ask. So I saw one person asking about BNGO over and over again. It's not doing tremendous volume. It's only down 2%. But you look at that flush out yesterday. You look at the daily chart at $5. That's that previous low. This is like a put up or shut up kind of situation. So if you're hopeful on that long, if it can't hold here, you're probably retesting the bottom. I mean, if I wasn't already in positions in particular, I'd be saying to myself, look at this. If it broke like 98s, which it's gone a couple of times here in that 5 break, if it breaks below maybe like a 95, that'd be a short for sure. If it retested 515, I'd probably want to fade into it. It's not a strong look. The only good thing I can tell you is that it's failed broken through 5 even like several times here, so it's probably shaken some people in and out of some trades, which could loosen it up for a bit of a run to the high of the day. But that's about the nicest thing I can say about bingo here. I got one out on Lemonade in front of 63. So we'll do that walk-on water thing, but it's now bouncing back into VWAP here. Now there's a limit to how many times I will reload that short. It breaks above 65. At this point, on a higher low like that, I just get out at a 65 level and then think about just reshorting at 67. So it's similar to what we did to Upstart, but in the other direction. And as far as Virgin Galactic goes, yeah, I mean, this was the one that based on that number I kind of wanted to roll into. It's now hit or touch that low of the day. So the money train short on Virgin Galactic, even though, you know, it is what it is. I mean, at some point, I do want to maybe dig into the stock. Maybe it'll be at 15 bucks, I think. But it's at that low. It's bounced again. You got to take that profit where it runs. If it comes back into like 1640, 1630, I'll certainly consider a reload. All the best shorts have been between 40s and up at the top here at 70. So usually about an average of like 1750 is what I've been doing on Virgin Galactic. Still has yet to break that low of the day, and I want to hold that breakout. Last one, before I take a bit of a breath and a sip of the coffee, Upstart is trying to go again. I never got that entry down around 101, 102 to reload. That can be a good thing if it goes to 110, which is still what I'm looking for in Upstart. No mas so far.
Yes, no mas. Okay, so we're waiting for NEO to crack lower as well. That'd be nice. So we've averaged here. Is that the right stock? Yes, it is. You can see we're just taking a little bit of a couple different prices here. 56 up to 60s. Our best fill 66. We're short 59 right now on NIO. The NASDAQ wants to go down. I mean, that's pretty obvious there. So we'll wait to see where it goes from here. But I still have an out 34.80, 34.90, something around here. Look, this is one name that there's no way in whatever that I'm going to hold this one on the upside because we saw the damage. Well, we know we don't have to see anything. I know what can happen to NEO when it gets going. Like I said yesterday in the pre-market, we touched 30.50 there. So I know there's buyers in this name, and I know it's just one of those names that can just rip faces off. So we'll average into this one, but we do have our out. There's another one. So this is, again, this looks crazy, like a lot of averages in, but it's not really. I was just layering orders. I don't even have that many shares yet. We're going to wait for it, though. If it breaks upside, then that's it. Then we're caught and we're done. But we'll see if the NASDAQ can't withstand this little bump and then a little bit of a, you can't even see that. I got to change this. A little bit of a bump to the downside here on the NASDAQ. So we'll wait to see where it wants to go from here. But I think this is just a retracement. We're going to give NEO till about 34.80 before we get out. Brendo?
Just checking on Takung, TKAT, attention NFTers. This one just popped up on a huge volume spike. You can see through 26. I didn't realize this got all the way down to 26, but volume came in. But look at this. We're right back down through 24.5. So just checking, guys. TKAT moving.
And right back down is Ocugen. So we talked you through like the thought process, and it's not about like, what direction, what shares you have or what position you have. It's more about like, look at what is happening with stock, what has happened historically, what are other traders seeing. We're all looking at the same thing. So everybody could have seen that at 65 at that level, which obviously means if it breaks, I mean, that short's going to get blown out of the water. We're coming all the way back here. Now I took another leg out here in front of 15. So we'll take about like a 35-cent winner on that. If it gets down to 10s, I mean, I almost want to let it break, if only because there is this, kind of consolidation off the open here at like 990 to 995. So if we break 10s, I wanted to see if I can't hold through for an even bigger gain. Not likely to average back into this, back at VWAP, because I really just like that 1065 on Ocugen. I'll only stick to getting those shares if I can. Just to go back over to Lemonade, because it is bouncing a little bit here. I do feel like, at some point, I'm going to have to I'm going to have to give up the ghost if we break that 65 level. We're not there yet. I still have a bid in front of that 62. Just make sure we get some profit on that downside in case it wants to reverse on me. I haven't mentioned this the last couple of sessions, like Coinbase has been one of my best stocks. No question about it, but I haven't mentioned it even one time here. Oops, that's on the NASDAQ. I haven't mentioned it even one time today, just a little bit busy. Flip, thank you very much. This is what it's about to do. So I set them up nearly at the limited positions. Usually I like buying the dip. That's come and gone. In Coinbase, this is that high at 307. This is now touching that 307 top. It's been one of the safer long positions. You go back in even like the 15-minute chart I'll show you guys here. Yeah, look at these ramps here. Tries to break 305, couldn't do it. Tries to break like 310s. I'm going to take this double top breakout in Coinbase because it's been too good a name for me in the last week to ignore it. So it does usually vault to the top of the list. Let's get that 307 break on Coinbase. It's been so good, the long, since it tested and held 250, that reference price.
So we're out of NEO. We'll put it into the gates of hell, but it was a small position on that one. So we lose about the same on NEO that we do on BABA today. So Chinese name's not working out for me, but no matter what, that's small pickings there. I like a 35 break here now. Let's go long. This market may have just touched bottom again. Like how many times? And again, we'll put up the chart here again. Like it's just been a bunch of bottoms here, right? And so let's see if it wants to hold those levels. And I think we're going to pick NEO because of yesterday's movement. We saw how strong that was yesterday. We got up to 35.50. I think we can even take that out if we go. So I do like NEO to the long side right now, Brendan.
As you were saying that, it's funny. As you were saying that, Lee Auto, day highs. So yeah, NEO not really participating, but look at this nice 8% move for Lee Auto, guys.
Yeah,
wowzers. Okay, this is certainly going to be, come on, put up or shut up, Upstart. Again, it's about to test that pre-market low, 106, call it 75 or so VWAP. It just broke it again. This is it. I mean, it either goes to this 109 here. I kind of feel like we're going to get really tested. I almost don't want to average into this one if it can't break out off this move. So it's in the money, 3.5. I've already scalped about that much off on this long. Remember, I lost on the first one, so I can't really celebrate this stock just yet. I haven't really talked about eyes because it's just, like I said, some of these stocks do this easy thing where they just continue to roll over, but it's close to this pre-market bottom at 540. If it touches that, I will be out of it. I know it closed at $5. I probably should have gotten back in when it tested VWAP. Didn't quite get to $6. It got to 594. We're clearly busy doing other things. And then Virgin Galactic, which I've kind of been ignoring here. And it's not ignoring it. It's just when you get one of these, you're managing multiple positions. If you get one that's in the money and then sliding towards the low, you're not really too concerned about it. It's more about what happens when it breaks that low. If it snaps back, which it kind of did just here, is there any follow through to the downside? Now, if it can't immediately retrace, maybe push down to that 16 quarters, I have to think about taking another leg off here because I don't want to throw away about 50 pennies and it goes right back into 1740. It doesn't look like that's what's happening, but that's what's on the back of my mind when a position is in the money and trying to make a fresh low. So you got to consider the momentum going into the move. For a second there, it seemed like it was slowing down. It was a nice volume spike on that little bit of a break. So some stocks definitely got triggered on Virgin Galactic. I wanted to be short as long as I could on Lemonade and Virgin. So far, so good, but that can turn in an absolute hurry.
Yes, sir. Right now, we're waiting for some stocks to start to move a bit for us here. We did take another Palantir long. Don't know if that one's going to work or not. And then we're waiting for NEO, which is basically going to crack through 35. Like right now, there it is. So now we take a NEO long. Let's hope that Lee Auto and everything continues to hold as NEO ripping to the upside. We're long at 03 here, Brendo. What you got?
For NEO, PSTH, guys, interesting story just popped up here. This is Bill Ackman's SPAC. PSTH on New York just popped up here on heavy volume to 24. Apparently, there's a forum on Reddit that is fairly convinced that they know what the target is going to be for this SPAC. No one said anything, or there has been no announcement, but a heads up on Pershing Square Capital, guys.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't, like, if anyone's buying SPACs right now, I mean, you must know something that I don't know because I'm not in love with those plays. We've seen them get hit. Whoa, we could check out PaySafe. So we just took a little bit of NEO out there at 10, and then now we wait for the upside. Watch this move, man. That's why you got to take some out. That NASDAQ just bumped there. We'll see if it has the chance to go even higher right now. But PSFE. Oops, that's SFE. PSFE over here. 11. Yeah, so yesterday we touched, what was it, 12 and change on PSFE today. Down a little bit again. This is PaySafe, of course, off that BFT, so a new SPAC there as well. So just bring it to your attention because we're talking some SPACs there. I don't love them, so stay away from Pershing Squares would be my call. But hey, I don't know anything about SPACs.
You're killing me. Like, look, this is ridiculous. I mean, you actually can see like the yellow dot on my chart here. This is when I put my order back in at 109.50 on Upstart, and then it just right here at the top, 109.48 it gets to. So like a couple of cents away. This is why on a stock which is moving like this, you don't actually put an order at an even number. Like that's not even a rookie mistake. That's just like, I don't know, like a ridiculous, I don't even have a word for how dumb that was. I kind of didn't even realize that's what I had done. Now, obviously, if it wants to hold in this range, I'll probably start taking it or take it out in front of 109 this time. And it'll only be about like, like 5.5, not that $6 winner. So hopefully we get a bounce off VWAP. We'll get out in this range, look for the next trade in Upstart. I don't want to look that gift horse in the mouth, which I'm kind of doing and staring at right now. I know there's a lot of names that it feels like we're ignoring today. 3D Systems going the other way. So finally pulling back in. This stock had been on obviously a monster run the last couple of sessions. It rejects the 50, both 50 period and a 24 half level. That's my 15-minute chart freezing, so I won't look at it. As it comes back in, I kind of think maybe it'll mount a defense at 20 bucks if it ever gets there. So file that one away in the old memory block. We're still 10% away from that, but 3D down 7% and still falling.
So we averaged in a little bit here to NEO, so we like that trade. We'll see how far it goes to the upside right now. We've taken some more bids here, 90s, and we took an 81 there. But the NASDAQ right now is sick again. It's taking out these levels that we thought would hold. So, you know, to start defending some longs right now, not a good idea. We did talk about taking a baby long on Palantir, and we've just been getting out of that now because here's the NASDAQ. It's going to take out that 13,100 again. You can watch it right here, 13,1. This is what this is. This is the NASDAQ. You can see NQs. And then, of course, these are the stocks upside right now. So we're only, I mean, we're long NEO 97. Like, we're in the money or flat on that trade. So I still think there is potential, especially if the NASDAQ does blow upside here and retrace back just a little bit. Even if it gets just a little bit of a bump, it'll allow us to get out of some of this NEO here. I've only been long today, and it hasn't been great. The biggest loss, really, has been Palantir. I mean, everything else has been okay, but not great. And we're still holding on to that FUBO, a small part. Here goes NEO, man. This is the big one for me. This is the one I'm holding the most shares in right now, NIO, guys.
Brendo?
This must be just weird timing, but Domino's. So apparently Bill Ackman bought 6% of Domino's, or took a 6% stake in Domino's. So that's weird timing, guys.
My goodness, that's another mover there. I mean, I almost want, like, there's so many positions I'm actually considering taking, but I don't want to be necessarily adding to anything. I was just watching QuantumScape start to creep back up. So you get that sort of hold at 27, flushes off the open, it bounces back to the upside. Now, originally, I think we were both looking at maybe that 29, but I start thinking about this 28.50 area into that level. Now, keep in mind the short interest, where it's come from, just how many faces can get ripped off if this one heads back to the upside. That's what you're considering here. The market is not exactly dying. We're down that 1.6%, but we've held the low so far in the NASDAQ. And as long as we've held it, I'll continue to think about that long trade in QuantumScape, and I think 28.50 could be that level to go for me. So I'm going to move my stop from that 29 to 28.50 just to fade into it just a little bit. And one of the reasons I can think about another long is because I finally got out of, if it'll load, I thought it actually loaded there so you guys can see it. Finally got out of that upstart. Now I didn't quite get the 109.50 because I told you about that ridiculous placement of an order. Just on stock that thing, you don't put orders right at the even, that's kind of stupid. But we're able to get out at just in front of that 109, so it'll end up being that's just shy of that $6 winner that we're looking for. Now the second long was a little obviously better than the first. We say this all the time, and I think we both did this in Palantir. We do this many times. Get out of that first long when you get that opportunity. If you like it and it continues to fall, find that next level and just dig into it there instead of just averaging all the way in, right? So it's people ask us this, how do we approach doing multiple trades or averaging in? A lot of times it's just don't do it. Like you wait, you get out, you wait for it, you dig back into this. I didn't actually get those 101s that I wanted the second time through, but upstart, we'll go 1 for 2 on it. Thankfully, because of discipline, we can be up on the day in the stock. Maybe it gets to 115. I'm not going to make that bet. I'm going to look for some other trades here. Lemonade, I'm still short. It's still a, come on, flip chart. There we go. It's still basing out here at that 63. One of the reasons why I took some more shares out. If it breaks the low, I'm hunting for a 62.50 for the next leg. That is low of the day. And if that goes, I think we're headed to 60 even, which we said off the top of the show. Another reason why you want to tune in, especially during earnings season, but really just every single day at 8:30. We go over all levels to get that free watch list because there's a lot to cover. We're trading very, very actively this morning because we knew today was going to be crazy, and it has been so far.
We're taking one more shot. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, it's just been sort of up and down, and then now we're testing the bottom. So anything short's been great for you today, that's for sure. NEO, we'll talk about that in a minute. We did get some out, so that was a good one. But now it's coming back down to the downside, so we're going to watch NEO breaking 34.50. There goes FUBO, we're out, right? Yeah. So there goes FUBO. It cracks that low of the day, and we got out. So I took one more shot there, and then out on FUBO. So that'll be a slight hit on FUBO coming to the downside again. I like it, and I still think that we'll be long this name at some point again. Maybe a flush down to 19 even might give us that long. I don't know. We did take some more down right there. 70s on NIO. We talked about that, why we like that, down to 34.50. We were short first, lost. Now it looks like we're going to be long, and pending a loss here on this name as the NASDAQ just ticking lower and lower and lower. What about Mr. Softy here? That was 242 earlier, now 241. We'll have to zoom this back out to go a little bit longer time frame to find some levels for Softy, but 241 looks like it may want to hold. You do have this area right here, 242, that if you do get back going, but I mean, I don't want to go long on anything right now because the NASDAQ, again, like we talked about it yesterday, right? That was puking, and it looks like the same thing's happening today. Yesterday, we were lucky to get that rebound. It was down, 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 so it looks like today they don't want to give anybody a rebound, and they're just hitting it off that CPI number. So here goes the NASDAQ downside. You could see, man, lowest spot right now that we've been at the pre-market, I guess. On that number, we dipped to 13,090. So I guess that could be a number that you look to get out at, but right now, NASDAQ just downside. Yeah, things you don't want to hear as you get triggered into Fubo long. I'm getting out of Fubo, it's breaking the low, NASDAQ going down, everything falling. But I mean, I had this, and I moved this back because after the move that we'd already seen some of these stocks, I moved back some of my dip buys, and this one, you looked at this 19 area, and again, I'm just going to the aftermarket here, where it pulled back into 19 even before making that almost stronger push into 21 even. Once I saw that, I look at this consolidation higher, which was about 1950. So the first long is in front of 1950. I haven't done anything on Fubo until this. So I got long 67s, and good thing we got out of Upstart so we can manage this one. Haven't added any new positions unless I've taken one off completely. So I'm into Fubo for the first time, and you guys are going to Brendan for the small cap recap.
Hey guys, yeah, busy morning in small cap world. Let's jump right into what was moving around in the pre-market here. I mentioned this Minerva right before the open. I was talking about three, bit of a level aftermarket yesterday, and then 330 was the top of that spike to the upside. So you got three. It did give you three on the way up there, but we're struggling back down at 250 now, so it needs to really get going, I think, through 250, or it might be done for the day. Another little one that was up in the pre-market here, BMRA. Very slow, kind of boring trade, but 4 broke just before the open. We're down to 365, 360, depending, but volume drying up on that one as well. And yeah, this eyes, I actually tried it long in the pre-market, but there was a wall at 630 that was just selling and selling and selling. So that kind of showed its hand before the open there, straight southbound for eyes down to 550. Still up 13% though for that one, guys. Back over to you.
Speaking of eyes, you actually just reminded me that I should be checking back in on it. Now, obviously, it did a little bit of a bounce off of 550. I talked 540 is going to be my out. This is one of those sessions where I feel like if I took anything more, like it would be getting out of hand, wouldn't be able to manage it. It's Palantir that's going to be, and you'll see this one as it flashes on the board. And if you see me staying away from it, it's just because the read is stunk, right? Like I had 2 outs that I liked on it. Neither long I got right in front of it. The first one I can at least blame on that number that came out, but you can't because you know it's coming at 830. So that probably should have been like a 25 long instead. I'm risking like 50 pennies on it. The second time, it's gonna be the same thing. Could have had a tighter long, maybe at like 1980 or so. Didn't when it broke. So I'm not digging into that one. I think there's gonna be probably a space where you can get back into it. But I'm staying away. I just added that Fubo position to the long side, guys. It's basically flat for me, and I got to start thinking about Ocugen and how far this one can actually continue to go in the money. I'm still, and I maintain this. Like if I come in tomorrow and Ocugen wants to make another run at 1065, at some point it's going to be it'll be a breakout through that price. But until it is, it's a short every time, and then you make that profit. It's finding support at $10. I've already taken some out 36 in front of the quarter, in front of that 15, or actually at that 15. I was on the bid at 15. If it breaks 10, I want to hold through a 10 break, but it's almost put up or shut up time. If it can't break that 10 even, I might just get out and then wait for a pop. You want to take that profit if you can get it. Fubo was the newest entrant for me. I just got that long off of that first look here, 19, and then that 1950 area. I got 67s to the long side. If it's below 19, I'm out of it 100% and probably not coming back into Fubo. If it wants to give me these 20s for a quick little scalp and I can rinse and repeat off of this little low, one of the things that's happening is, and I'll just slide over to look at the NASDAQ for a second if I can. One of my charts is frozen there. As long as we're holding the bottom of this range, I kind of feel like if you're bottom picking, rinse and repeat, scalp some out there if you can, and then when we finally make the breakout, you hold on to that net long, and then maybe we'll get back into that 13.2 area, 13.2.5. So I need this market to come back up for the long positions. I kind of feel like hopefully the shorts I have are detached from that. Eyes shouldn't care. Ocugen shouldn't care. Virgin Galactic and Lemonade are deep enough in the money that even if the market comes back and we're retesting this 13.25, those should be okay as well.
Man, we thought we don't have the right stock here because Neo, again, tried, what is going on? I'm just picking the wrong names today because, we bought and picked Neo here on.
This NASDAQ moved down, and then the NASDAQ pops up exactly like we wanted it to and thought that it would. And now we're testing these lows again. My microphone's on, so right now, Neo coming down to the bottom here again, guys. So, we picked the NASDAQ here. We picked the long, we get the long right here. It's identical with this. And then obviously Neo right now going to break and we're going to get out because no idea why that got hit so hard there. Thought on this move up we were going. When we see that it didn't, and we were able to take a couple pieces out there of NIO. So yeah, this name fail right now on Neo back to the downside. So we'll have to wait to see if it bounces off here, but I was not expecting this move downside on NIO. So we picked the wrong one. Today's just not the good day for me on picking some of these longs, but I know Neo just picked the bottom, hopefully up there on Fubo. And other than that, man, we're going to wait to see what happens on NIO. But that move down was not at all what we were expecting on a move up in the NASDAQ. So we're going to get out of this one quickly on a break, guys.
Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink. I'm a big Eddie Murphy fan. Well, you can probably tell. He does a fantastic. I do a horrible impression of Elvis Presley, but he does a good one. Lemonade, there's nothing good about it. There's nothing cool or refreshing about this. And I can tell you, as someone who was looking for a bottom in this stock, I think it's trying to find it. I thought that would be maybe 60 today, but I think it's trying to find it at 62.50. So we stay on the bear train, and I'm still short at 64.15. It's going to be this entry here. We had 67 short. This is what we said. 2 shorts you liked, 67 short. Hopefully you can get it SSR. 65, the rollover at VWAP. But 62.50 is a double bottom. If it breaks that, we're looking at 60s. Maybe I'll take it out in front of 61 or so because I'm probably going to try a long in front of 60 even. But this short has been, there's nothing easy about trading, but certainly when you look at how weak this has been, you look at the disappointing earnings, the 15-minute chart hates me, you start to think about how shallow that pullback was, unable to get back above and then hold that 75 level, close shy of that 75. It is what it is. You play the momentum. It's been to the downside all morning long, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be slowing down on Lemonade. The long that I got, look, I can talk about the shorts that are in the money, but it's like, Fubo, come on. You can't do anything for me here. You can't give any kind of a bounce. All I'm looking for is a first test, even get me a piece out in front of 20 even, and then maybe start rinsing and repeating and getting an average in or taking some more shares in front of that 1950. This can't even bounce more than 20 or 30 cents when it's just come off $2.50. It's kind of surprising, given the report they had, given how much room they had to run. I really thought there'd be a second leg in here, especially because the market's not exactly a dying quail. Like we're down and we're holding the lows. You'd think Fubo would have some energy to the upside.
Yeah, I would have thought so too, and that's why we traded that Fubo, and then eventually wound up getting hit on that name because just downside there, nothing else came through. So Fubo was a downside trade there. I'm still trying to watch that Hertz. I haven't made too many trades on that name yet, but Hertz, looking decent for sure for a trade at some point. I just got to find that. I don't know if we are going to be getting Jeff at all, but maybe I missed that in the chat. I'm not sure, but we will try to get Jeff Mendel for you guys to talk about HTZ GQ if we can. I'm sure he'd want to come on. So we traded it a little bit short there and then in and out for flat. Haven't done much on HTZ yet, so we will wait for that. But a big one, and you talk about we have ETHE as well for Ethereum Trust. There, the grayscale. Here it is right here. It's trying, guys. There's that 4,300. It just broke, 4,350. We bounced off 4,300. We have the high right here, I believe all-time highs of 4,368. coming into play right now on ETHE, so or Ether, if you're watching that one. There's a couple different ways to trade that. You could trade Mara, you could trade a bunch of different names as well. Riot, blockchain. Let's go back over to Alibaba quickly and see what that's doing. Small loss, yeah, 221. Small loss on Alibaba today so far. Not great, but hey, what are we going to do about it? So we're going to wait to see if it comes back down to 221.50. That's the level that I like there on BABA. 221.50. We'll test another long.
And we'll go with the arrows up. That's the net's coming up. Ocugen comes down. The break of 10 happened. I showed you this little tiny pullback off of like 990 to 950 right off the open. That's exactly where it consolidates. That's where I get out. My last entry was at 53. My average price was basically like 10.50 even. So you get like a 55-cent winner on it. And again, this just had to do with one thing and one thing only. You know what, I'm going to have to fix that chart for you guys. But anyways, I can actually do it this way. Just moving my 1 to the 15. I'll use like a 1, 3, and a 15. Usually the 3 will be in the afternoon. But it was at 1065 level. You can see it once. If it ever loads the rest of this chart, you can see it 1, 2, 3 times. And the gap to the downside on that low on the 5th. That's the only thing we cared about. It comes right into that support level. You see all of this chop in and around like 970, 980, 990, whatever. I'm not concerned with that. I'm not holding into that level. I think maybe it even forms a bit of a long off these 9 3/4. But I'm out of Ocugen, looking for a new name here, and hopefully Brendan can give another runner to us.
I just found this ADT having a nice day. They didn't even report. They just updated their current quarter forecast to the upside. This 10 up here, big level. Coming into play possibly for ADT, guys.
All right, guys, check the chat there, see if there's any news on Mr. Mendel. Okay, Microsoft 241, what you said, ADT? Oh, I want to check out AIHT now. We took out that 750 already, and then now we're looking to go to the upside right here. Wow, that was a great trade, man, that 750 break. It goes right to 850, and if you're looking at a high side chart, 850, we talked about that number there, and now it's 9 is the high on this, and wow, AHT has just continued to, or IHT, sorry, continues to be like a monster trade for anybody that's been in this one early. I did want to check, we did have a super chat. I'm not, I don't know anybody, if you guys are in this name or not, but I did want to go back to that MDRR just because someone did ask about it and see if we are ripping or not now, 153. This was just a name that we brought up to, that's the daily chart, sorry. This was a name that was brought up to us in the pre-market, something similar to IHT, and we talk about how much we love our fans and sort of our community here. And so this is a name that was brought to everybody's attention as well today. So look, not an endorsement. We don't know much about it. We do know that it's a REIT, however. There was one other name that I just want to go to quickly, and I can't remember what it is. AMC. There's some talk on AMC as well on the chat there. I think I got to 1030. Yeah, so it gets up to 1030 today. 1050 right there. Again, barcoding and then a pop. So that's kind of cool at 1025. Those are key levels always. But AMC is still really just stuck here. Its 50 period is right here. So I think we need to get a little more action on AMC before we actually decide what to do with it. But there it is. Tesla 605 now as well. That could be a decent long opportunity.
And finally, there's at least a little bit of a bounce here in Fubo. It gets to that 19, well, I mean, basically to 20 even there. I'll take some out in front of it. We'll scalp a little bit of a winner. So it's muted. It's not much, but it sort of gives me that little bit of a juice. If it comes back in, I'm going to take more shares in front of 1950, rinse and repeat. Hopefully, this is a bit of a bottom being put in. I'm going to clean up that wick because clearly it didn't trade down to 1760. That's just a dark pool wick, which we've seen a heck of a lot more of lately, it seems like, in the charts. But if we get back down and can hold this low, I want to see if I can't get more shares into Fubo just to be able to rinse and repeat that action. Eyes. Where are you going? Where are you going? Right back in. Every single time it's come up into VWAP, it's failed like 5 cents away. I don't get into it because it's a couple pennies away from where I wanted to offer. It fails here at 86. It's a few cents away from where I want to offer. I'm just missing every single reload. I'm just sitting in this short offer the open, and it's continuing to pop up and then make fresh lows, and I get nothing. Brendo?
Just bothering Miss B. LHDX popped up here. Apparently they have a COVID test that has been approved to be sold on Amazon. So there was another one last week we saw that had the same thing happen in RIPS. So LHDX, they now have a COVID test on Amazon, guys. Miss V is checking in on Europe. It's 10:30. That means there's 1 hour left in the session over there. V, what's up?
Hey, Brendan, European markets are back to the positive territory, supported by strong earnings. Commerzbank trading in Germany is up around 8% after it beat first quarter profit expectations and also raised its revenue outlook. Back to you.
Earnings across the board. I mean, we're getting to the end, but still some exciting ones, guys.
Always exciting and always on the go. Earnings season. I said this would be a big week for earnings and we'd see a lot. And look, how much more exciting has this week been than a couple of the other ones? I think it's been pretty good considering some of the movements that we've had. And let's go over to another name. Roblox yesterday just goes nuts, basically goes parabolic yesterday. Upside, we didn't even, here, damn it. There's the 1 day, again, I keep having the daily chart up. You guys can see here, Roblox yesterday left for dead at 63. And this is what I mean by parabolic, up to $78 there. I mean, that's not technically a parabolic move, but it does go off yesterday. Up that 17, 18, 19% and giving back a third of it today, just straight to the downside here. Like a lot of those names that were big yesterday, like a Palantir that you've seen me trade horribly long side today. Not bad, but not great. To the long side, we're still holding a small piece of Palantir, still not doing anything. But Roblox right now, that's a decent bottom, 71.70. Unlike many companies that are reporting, Roblox actually did have a decent report there. They increased subscriptions and revenues and everything. Still lost a lot more money than people thought, but apparently that's not a bad thing. So we'll wait to see if 71.50 comes back into play for RBLX.
And continuing to slide to the downside is that Virgin Galactic. I'll pull it out a little bit here. Whoops. Yeah, whatever. That's phrasing. Anyways, I'll pull the chart back a little bit so you can sort of see. We've already broken that pre-market bottom. This was on. These lows are sort of off of that report that we got 8:30, first time at 17 even. That's why I took profits in front of that level. And then we then pressed down at 9 o'clock into 1685. That's why I took some out there. Since that break, I mean, it's very slowly sliding into this 3/4, which is the low of the day. So if 75 goes, I want to get out in front of 50s. I want to get flat in front of 1620. If only because, I can show you on the 15-minute chart a little bit here. There's yesterday. You get that ramp up, and it was obviously a fantastic one that got missed on Virgin Galactic at 15 on that break, but it pulled back into 1620, and that's where the pump was in the afternoon. So I kind of feel like that has to be a target for me in front of it, so we'll go ahead and do that. Lemonade just continues to flush. Look, I took some more shares out in front of 62.50. I've only traded it in one direction, and I intend to keep that until it gets to 60 even. That's where I want to throw some bids out. So if it goes another $1, we're going to be all out of lemonade. That short will be a $3 winner. We started at 67. We did it again at 65. I shorted off VWAP at 64.15. Those are the shares I have left. All of them have been pretty good so far. At some point, I'm expecting a bit of a bounce in lemonade, but it feels like it cannot wait to get to that 60 level, or at least test it. Everyone's been looking at this halt fest on RMED. I've been staying away from it temporarily. I just checked to make sure that we have only 3 cents a share to be able to short this one. So thank you, Day Trader World, as I always try to say here. If it does make another fresh run at one of these highs, it's still kind of trending to the upside here. But since those halts, it's calmed down a little bit. So I want to make sure it can hold open without halting every 5 minutes before I get into it. I'm looking at that 650 top, or at least 640 top, and then looking to see if I can't get in. It's not the only reason looking at that one chart, but look at this 640 right here on the daily chart. It stands out like a sore thumb. I kind of feel like once it calms down, you got a level like that, this is where you want to play off of it. So it's consolidating lower. I'd prefer 625, 615. If it gets into that range, I'm looking at RMED. It's crazy sometimes to get involved while these are going through those halt trades, unless you have a very specific strategy. Once it calms down, you're locked and loaded, ready to go, but always have a stop. These low float names will crush you if you don't.
Yeah, if you don't have a stop in any sort of a trade, guys, learn from us. And at least if we lose, we're getting stopped out at prices that we've analyzed the risk levels at, right? And I think that's the big thing, because if you don't have stops made, you're just going to get blown out over and over and over again. So at least have your stops, and then when you're wrong, and you just can move on. What's up, Bren?
I just saw this USO pop up here. The ETF, it is positive again. There was a flush. The energy data just came out, weekly energy data. There's obviously the pipeline shut off right now, so concerns over gasoline shortages. Good to know there was a much larger than expected build in gasoline supplies for last week, and a much smaller than expected drawdown in crude supplies for last week. So initial selling, but we're moving back higher on USO.
I was looking at XOM earlier as well. XOM has a chance, I think, anyways. It was making new highs not too long ago. Where's the chart? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 61. Forget about those. 61.50 there on XOM with a nice move, nice movement lately. XOM has been on just a rebound back to the upside there. So looking at that, I mean, we did have that negative news, obviously, with the pipeline. I don't know if that affecting XOM directly. You talked about Chevron there, a couple different names coming into play, but XOM well above the 50 period. And right now, I may sneeze in a second. Right now, looking to take out 61.50. I like that for a long. XOM 61.50. If you're looking to get your money into an oil space, I think this could go. It's not a huge mover, but again, you know, in a negative market, we just talked about the NASDAQ being down 1.77. I mean, now we're down 1.96 and it's soon to be 2%. It looks like. I'm holding this Palantir trade, like you're going to say, like, you know, why is Sean holding this? It's not a big trade. I'm holding it so I can watch it. And as it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, I'm looking for levels to get in on, right? So we did some work yesterday on Palantir. It was a good one. Today, not so much. We go to even a 5-minute chart here on Palantir. This was those levels we talked about. Remember I said, like, if you feel like you missed Palantir yesterday, then maybe you can step in today and think about getting some at 1850. We didn't expect. Obviously, I've been long this whole day. I've had actually that many executions today on Palantir, 40. So it hasn't been too bad. We've been very specific on our outs, but you may fall back into this 1850 area, and that's right where we are now. So, you know, this is sort of before earnings. Then you get that earnings and then a miss, apparently, even though it was nice. Then that movement right back to the upside, which we were unable to hold. So right now, I'm looking to dip in a little bit now into Palantir. We'll do a little bit more work, but this is like 1875-ish maybe. We have to let it go if it doesn't work. So Palantir right now on a rebound maybe, but 1875 if it doesn't work, it's not too far away from here.
Yeah, and this one started to come back in that RMED. Now, I just got out some shares in front of VWAP, but I'll tell you right here, and I put it in the chat, I just finished saying to you that my short should be somewhere in the teens. It ends up at like 606 because I just had to take some shares in front of 6 because I'm an idiot. So it got 599s, it then spikes up, and I get those at the teens. Then don't have room to add that 25. And even if I tried, I probably wouldn't have caught it on the way down. It bounces off VWAP once. You want to make sure you're taking profits there, guys. So it's not the gates of hell yet for this stock, but you look at that. You always want to find a couple of things here when these stocks start ramping up. It's like 100% up or 50% up and multiple hold trades. I want more than one reason to get into the short. It can't just be the high of the day, which was at that 37. So I'll reiterate and go back to the daily. You're able to find the 640 level, which had some significance to it. It is not halting every 2 seconds now. It's calmed down. There's more liquidity, obviously. So I think it can flush. If it breaks VWAP, I'll take some out in front of 550. I'll look for 5 to be the floor. I'm not even hoping it comes back into 420. I'd rather play inside of that range where the percentages are a little bit higher. And as I chew all that out and spit it out for you guys, we send you to Brendan for Sector Watch. That is not as red as I was expecting.
Hey guys, yeah, a bit of a tale of two stories today. There's the energy group, and then the rest of the market is very negative. So energy stocks higher. That inventory number is starting to help, as I said, a little bit of a dip, but they're coming back to the upside. So Oxy here, Fang, VLO, they're all here. Apache, NOV, Marathon, Devon. 4+% up to about 6% for some of the energy companies. Here's that Norton LifeLock I was talking about early on this morning. Still almost 8% for that one off of earnings. The Bill Ackman effect here coming into DPZ. Apparently picking up a 6%. I was reading he sold his stake in Starbucks to buy this 6% stake in Domino's. Penn right beside it, though, offsetting it to the downside there, 4% negative territory. Overall, consumer discretionary stocks, tech stocks leading as far as decliners are concerned. Hardware names, semiconductors, the hardest hit at this point, this side of things. Banks are showing some strength. Overall, not huge moves, but the individual banks here in positive territory, as well as along with some of the pharmaceutical names. There are a few that are showing some strength. Far Corner Communication Services names very, very weak on the day as well. So as I was saying, a bit of a tale of two stories. Negativity surrounding the energy group, and then that's about it. 1% overall for the S&P. Let's go back to Sean.
Yeah. So the energy sector, that's what we talked about XOM there a little bit, and I'll go over to that. I like that 6150 break, which may be happening sooner rather than later on XOM, so we can call it up here. XOM, it looks like it's coming through. And when you get, like, I'm going to try it relatively, I don't know, relatively large position. A decent one on XOM if we break through 61.50 right there. It's going to be the high. We did have some bouncing spots yesterday before the tank came through. Yep. We did get some movement there to the backside. So if we do get into XOM, this is a 5-minute chart. Let's put it back to a 1 minute. I don't know if this is worth scalping. We may try to hold this one. Yesterday's high, that's 62.30 XOM right now. And again, what I was getting at was, when you have some weak names like we do today, people looking to put their money into something stronger. So people rotating out of tech and into energy up 1.4. XOM can go more than that. So 61.50 in. And then if we have to get out, we'll probably basically where the move started. Like if we're going to be wrong, let's hold it back to 61.20. So 30 cents worth of risk, well sustainable. And then we'll see if we can't get XOM to get back. I mean, the daily chart doesn't look like it's not going to give us anything for that, but upside, maybe I go back to a 3-minute chart here real quick for you on XOM. I do want to look at other names though, but I'm interested in this. So yeah, some consolidation, 62, some rough spots, that's 61.50. We're trying to get through that. 75. Okay, so yeah, a little bit where, you can get a quarter for sure, and then we'll wait to see about 62. So I'm gonna take a 61.50 first out, probably like 69 or 70, something like that, and then we'll hold for 62 and get out in the 90s.
We're flushing, flushing more shares out on that RMED, and a bit of a change of plan because I see it test VWAP and hold again. So I'm not going to look that gift horse in the mouth, guys. I'm going to take some more shares off here. All I'm really doing is sliding the bid that I had from 50s up into that 70 range, and instead of taking 50 cents on the next leg, you're just getting that nice little 30-cent run. I still think if it breaks, I'm probably going to get down to that 530, 540, somewhere in that range. It probably puts in a higher low if it bounces anyways. So, you talk about here at 505, you talk about here at 520. That's likely in that 30 to 40 range. So I want to be targeted down there if I can, which I am. Fubo, which I'm not ignoring. It's like, it doesn't want to do anything. It ain't me, man. It's Fubo. It slides down. It doesn't test 19. Now, 1950 was the first level. Zoom in a little. Well, that zoomed in way too far there. 19 even was this little pullback in the aftermarket. That's the next level of concern. It doesn't even get to the quarter, so there's no add-on for me. And then now it's basically not doing anything. It bounced off 1930, and we're right back to essentially flat. So it seems like it wants to hold this 1950 to 60 area where I bought a couple times. But at some point, with the market now making fresh lows, you're going to have to give up the ghost. It's been the shorts that have been working out. I had some success with Upstart on the second try through, but even then, had to let it fall like $15 before it found a bottom, and we're able to take advantage of it. Everything else is just stick with those shorts. I'm holding on to Eyes, which is almost back to flat. Holding on to that RMED, holding on to Lemonade, holding on to Virgin Galactic, all those shorts working out for me. And then Fubo, I'll give up the ghost if 19 breaks. There's not going to be, I'll average in one time in front of 19, and that's going to be it. If 19 goes, I'm not even trying Fubo until it gets to like 17.50 or 80.
Yeah, Fubo, slight loser for me today. Yeah, but I like what you're doing there for sure. XOM does go up into the money 7 or 8 pennies. I'm going to give this one back to where I said about 61.10. 61.15, somewhere like that inside. I do have my offers where we talked about at the 60 level there. So good. I don't know if it's a good look or not, but it's a look. That's for sure. I guess Bill Ackman also said that he's not interested in Bitcoin, apparently. So here you go to the downside. I don't know. Again, these things are just sensitive to everything. Bitcoin's not really moving, but it just looks like it's a negative move to the downside. Unfortunately, no, we haven't seen anything like this inside of the market today. It was 930 straight up. Upside there, just up about 1,000 or about, not 1,000, 55.8 to 56.8. Yeah, okay. So that's a nice move. And then now we're retracing all the way back down. So watch out to see if Bitcoin can hold this 56. If it does, retest backside there. BTC looking to make some moves there. It doesn't look like I can get anything too right today as XOM. It's not doing anything, but still losing on the downside. So we take a 61.50 break. Let's see if it has a chance to go. I tried to average into Palantir at 74 and missed it. So now we're waiting for a 19 break in case the NASDAQ does get going back to the upside. I do like Palantir on a 19 break, guys. I may piece a little bit off of XOM just because it's not moving, but we'll see if the NASDAQ can get going back upside right now, and that'll increase our Palantir earnings as well, guys. No idea what you just said, Robbie, but I'll throw it to Brendan.
Perfect.
I mean, we could do it this
Right.
way as well. I was just going to, our friend Jeff Mendel has arrived. So we're going to bring him into the conversation to have a look at Hertz. Thanks for doing this, Jeff, jumping on in short notice. Jeff Mendel, VP of OTC Markets, jumping on quickly here to talk about this Hertz news. It's always exciting when we have some volume to talk about, Jeff.
So first of all, yeah. So as you all know, Hertz has been trading down here in the over-the-counter market for, I don't know, almost a year now, maybe, right? And so, you know, we all remember before it delisted, how crazy the volume was, and then when the bankruptcy filing came, right? We knew that it'd be coming down to us, and so just like that, in reverse, we're now going to see it probably go back up to the exchange here pretty soon. And so, you know, like, I like to think about like some other companies that have done this in the past, kind of the same transition. If you think about General Motors back in the financial crisis of 2008, right? One of the largest automobile makers, dwarfs Hertz in size, right? You know, they filed for bankruptcy. They actually came down and traded over the counter, just like Hertz did. Ultimately, they were bailed out by the government, and then I don't know how long they were trading over the counter. I forget. But, you know, they kind of did the same thing, and ultimately they ended up back on the exchange. And so, you know, just like General Motors, Hertz is about to do the same. And so, you know, from our standpoint, right, it's going to continue to trade here in the over-the-counter market. And then there will, you know, ultimately be one night, there will be a corporate action, and it'll go back up to the exchange. And when that happens, right, all open orders, all quotes, all trading will cease down here, and the next morning it'll open up on the listing exchange.
It's a great explanation, and we appreciate it, Jeff. It's worth mentioning, you know, nothing was actually announced as far as that taking place. We're just assuming that that's going to be the case.
What was that, Brendan? Sorry.
Yeah, there was a bit of an echo there. I was just saying, you know, nothing was actually announced as far as them uplisting. Again, it was just, you know, we're assuming that's going to be the case based on, as you said, what happened in the past.
No, exactly. And stuff like that makes for great trading, right? Now we're up $1.08. There's tons of liquidity on both sides, right? I mean, you know, these are the type of moves that we want. And so if there is a back and forth, I think it's good for everyone on Trader TV.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that in. What's up, Jeff? I want to bring that to everyone's attention. And that's why I called for you. I said, as soon as I saw Hertz, I said, let's get Jeffrey Mendel on the phone here and get him on the horn. So thank you so much for coming by. And this is what I noticed, Jeff. I mean, I talk about your website all the time, but when you get this increased volume, that creates just such great opportunity on your exchange because of what you said. There's a lot of back and forth. The spreads can open up like we do have right now, even on Hertz 3 pennies. But there's OTCX, right? You guys are making the market pretty much on every single level with a lot of liquidity. There's a 3,000 right there on the bid and so on and so forth. And you can see all of the offerings here. And I just want to bring it to everyone's attention that that's what we look for, right? Like this is yesterday Hertz, right? Not much volume. Obviously, someone got wind of something as Hertz made a nice move up. We had to battle back in the NASDAQ. But look at the increase in volume here. And that's something that I look for. And that's why we wanted to call you out. I think Hertz provides an amazing opportunity. Just on that rumor that they do get uplisted, I guess it's broker dependent, right, Jeff? How the shares, how long do they take to transfer? So if I were to buy HTZGQ right now off of, I don't know, let's just say whatever your broker is, I would say Robinhood. I don't know if Robinhood trades pink sheets or OTC market or not, but then it takes what, a couple days, I guess, for your shares to switch over. Is that broker dependent? Do you guys do anything with that on your side, or once the uplist happens, then you guys sort of wash your hands of the symbol?
So that's a very good question, right? And so, you know, we're the venue where all the trading occurs. And so, you know, we're piped in with all the clearing firms and everything like that, and they rely on us a lot of times as kind of a redistributor of FINRA corporate actions that actually go out, and so they're relying on us, so they know when this is going to happen, and they know what they have to do on their side to make sure. So, you know, let's say for example, right, you were to buy it today, and suddenly tomorrow it would be listed again. They would be ready and able to trade the new ticker tomorrow. So it's a seamless transition.
Okay, perfect. I think we get a lot. I just wanted to clarify that because we do get a lot of people say, well, what if it gets uplisted? What happens to my shares? So you heard it right there from you, Jeff. Anything?
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, no, I think, I think it's a good thing. We've seen a lot of different things. MindMed did uplisted as well when they were with you guys as well, went up to NASDAQ just recently. So anything to add on this one?
I don't want to cut you off there, but that was a little different, right?
Yeah.
So MindMed actually used us to start gaining new investors, right, from an early stage, right? They didn't come down for bankruptcy, right? They were actually, they graduated up to the exchange from our platform OTCQX, which is our premier marketplace. So that's a totally different example, but yes, along the same lines when you're talking about trading in continuity.
Yeah,
right?
we had people.
Also,
That's why I brought it up.
Noise in the background, guys, because we actually do have people here in the office. You just can't see them; they're on the other side of me.
Say what's up to them from me. Go ahead, Neil.
No, I just wanted to say, like there's been names that you probably haven't even thought of that have been opportunities on the OTC, like Chesapeake and Luckin Coffee. I know there's a lot of volume. There's one thing we didn't ask about this last time, and it's a leading question because I know everyone's interested in Hertz, but it behooves us to mention this as well. And I'm going to lead you onto this. When it comes to like your Nintendos and when it comes to some of those, I guess, Asian names that trade, you know about that rule where they never come out with information that's actionable during market times for them. Like, what is the advantage on OTC when you're trading a Nintendo in the U.S. markets here? We talk about it all the time, but not in the last few months here, and I think it's bears mentioning.
So once again, more opportunity, right? So the great thing is when you log in and you turn on your trading platform in the morning, right? We have OTCX available in the pre-market, so you can actually sometimes see people who, are maybe they haven't updated their quotes or anything like that, but there could definitely be some opportunity, right? It could be a retail order that's just been sitting out there, like a GTC order that's sitting out there. And at 8 a.m. in the morning when people are actually allowed to, start trading these names, you never know. You see these prints that go off, and it's people taking advantage of opportunity just because they're doing their research and they're seeing, oh, Nintendo came out with this, overnight. Okay, that's great. Let's pull up Nintendo, and oh, great, there's an OTCX offer out there. You can take that; it's fully actionable. And there's other things like that too. And so you mentioned Luckin Coffee, also a little different than Hertz, right? It was that was a very strange one, but it actually didn't go into bankruptcy. It just came down to trade over the counter as a regular ADR, like a Nintendo.
And look, the only reason I bring that up in terms of like finding those fills and stocks that maybe have traded over in Asia and then you open up here at 8 o'clock in OTC, because there used to be opportunities like that in the U.S. markets on small cap stocks and when they had the different gateways and no trade throughs. That's all gone. And I think OTC is probably one of the only places you can still find those little opportunities for arbitrage. I mean, I can't thank you enough, Jeff, for coming on here.
Do your homework, And like I said, we can give you the tools. We can lead you to the water, but we can't make you drink it. So,
can't we, though?
Like I said, OTCX, I got to say it again. It's there in the morning, 8 a.m. every day. So use it. I think it's actually under link for the Day Trade the World traders too. So like I said, we're there. Use it.
There you go. From the source, we get movement in the pink sheets or the OTC markets, and we're going to give Jeff a look here. And valuable information. We're all about the education. Thank you so much for coming on short notice. We'll let you go back to the golf course.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Nice backdrop.
See you. Thanks. Jeff Mendel, OTC Markets, Vice President there of the OTC Markets.
Great background.
Yeah, nice background. He said he has finally got some employees working out there. XOM guys, gates of hell. That didn't work either. So, forget about longs. I mean, this is just getting nasty out here today. Let's just try to pick up some decent bottoms somewhere. Not. I think we've got to short the pops, guys. Brendan at the big screen, Money Talks.
All right, guys, let's have a look at currency land. I just noticed that chart in the monitor off to my left, but this is impressive. This is Ethereum again today, 43.25 currently, all-time highs, but another 4.5% at the moment, 43.30 for Ethereum. So it's hard to avoid a chart like that. Elsewhere, the US dollar trying ever so slightly to bounce today. So some of these going to be in negative territory, including the euro coming off 0.6%. back below 121. The Canadian dollar holding in there strong, 82.6 for the CAD. The British pound down 0.3. You can see a little bit of volatility coming back into play. Both the Japanese yen and Swiss franc higher. But the chart of the day, guys, goes to Ethereum, as it has been for the past week.
Some things never change, and that certainly has not at all. And I feel it just feels like one of the reasons why you're not seeing any kind of bounce back in these markets is there's only so much money out there, and if the money's flowing into crypto, and especially Ethereum and some of the alts, and no one takes it out, well, then that's just a little bit less coin for those active traders trying to pick those bottoms, especially in some of these growth names. EYES, it's been a relatively simple go of it here because it broke down 615. We talked about that in the pre-market when I shorted it. Came back to that price just before the open. We shorted it there, and then all the outs were like these 90 levels. It goes at the open. You get the same thing again right in front of 615. It makes its way down to a 560 bottom. Not quite the 40s that I wanted, but bounces all the way back up. I do nothing, 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 and then, yeah, there's 615 again. So it retests that level. I finally get back into position. I'm going to stick with the same outs. It's going to be VWAP here, but I like that 590 area. I like that 580 area. If it gets down into 550s, I'll probably slide this up and start thinking about that 65 bottom. It is on volume. I have to watch out. And if it breaks out from here, like these 15 to 20 area, I will get out and then look for a test off the high. I'm not going to hold this trade all the way into that 640 top. I'd much rather be getting out than reevaluating it if it gets there. Now, there is, that RMED, which thank you to Jeff for coming on. But while that was happening, I talked about the reasons why I got more shares out in front of VWAP, but I would still try to hold through that target into 530, that it would likely put in a higher low. That's me. That's the wick down. That's it putting in the higher low. I am all out of that trade. So you wait for it to calm down after successive halts. You wait for a level we like. We showed you 640 on that higher time frame chart, 15-minute or the daily, whichever one you like. You have a plan of action. You get into it, counter trend, and it's able to work out for you. So that's just an idea of how we treated that RMED, not even paying attention to it until it could stay open for more than like 2 seconds. Brendan?
Just checking on Boeing, not much of a reaction. There is a bit of a bounce coming here for BA, guys. It's still pretty negative, 1.5%. Some volume coming in, though, off 225 after the FAA or an FAA administrator saying the Boeing 737 MAX performing better or as well as any other plane. And the FAA has all the confidence in the world in said 737 MAX. Guys.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a bump. And I was looking at Boeing for that bump, but it didn't really do anything on that. So we'll wait to see what they mean by that. But a 3-minute chart, I mean, all the confidence is great. But what does that turn out to be as far as, orders and things like that? That's what we're really waiting for. And I think that's a good indicator there that, yeah, maybe there are now. If they can get an all clear of some sort, and I don't know too much about what they need, what's left. But if people have confidence and are going to return to the skies, I mean, I just look at myself like, if you had a choice, would you go into 737 MAX? I mean, I just think the more flights they get under their belt and the more data that can show, I was going to say positivity rates like vaccine, but if they can show more, or COVID, I guess, if they can show, more due diligence on this, and then they get the reports coming through. I like Boeing. That bottom was 224.80. Maybe worth a little small one here at 225.50 break, which is going to happen right now. Let's give that until the bottom of the day, but we'll take a small position here and see if we can get this back upside here, as maybe the NASDAQ's starting to go now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're bouncing potentially off that 13,000 mark. Now, the first thing we did now, obviously, Palantir's not going to have worked out for that long side. And when that number came at 830, the inflation certainly shocked. The first thing I thought about was what can you actually get short? It is a kind of like a mini hedge, but I've stuck with it. I liked Virgin Galactic anyways for the short trade today because I thought the bounce was a totally different story in some names versus others. And you get that big a move, $14 to $18, and the company doesn't actually have any revenue. I'll probably be inclined to short it every single time on day 2. This is starting to get a little bit barcode-esque at the bottom here at that 1675. It's broken 1675 several times, but like 73 is a low. I don't want this to rip up on me and I'm just sort of throwing away profits. So what I kind of have to think about here is, throw a bit of a trail for the rest of what I have, not maybe half what I have, and then just into like 1680 or so, lock in some more profit. If it does go, it's going to be fantastic. That's fine. I still think 1625 or 1620 is that level to go, but I don't want this reversing on me. And I've been staring at it do nothing because the market continues to flush, guys. Market's still going down on the lows of the day. and Virgin Galactic is really trying to catch a bit of a bid here. So as much as it's been a good short, I'm going to throw a quick little trail in there. And you better believe it, did it actually happen? EYES has finally broken to the upside. So there it is. I got some of that VWAP, and eventually, if you short the same level over and over again, the fourth time we actually take a hit. I said I'm not averaging in until it makes a test of the high of the day. That's this 640 to the upside. Well, 638 technically, 640 I always round up. It kind of got there. It got to like 30s. Not necessarily a strong enough move. If it gets to that top, I'll look to see if it has a fake breakout. I would short that if I could. Otherwise, I can sit back, relax, not sip cognac, because unlike some people were saying in the chat, we're not drinking while we're trading. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating a FUBU long that gets to VWAP sometime soon. It is creeping back up. The longer the market holds the bottom here, if we get a screaming move to the upside, I mean, if the futures go first and start to make a strong move, I might cancel the offer in front of VWAP here in front of 20 quarters and then just let it ride into like 2050 or so. Ultimately, if it gets back to 21, I'm likely to get out because you get the opening flush off 21, the fail break at 21. Yeah, you better believe it. I'll take $1.25 on FUBO, which has been no good all morning for any of those longs. The fact it's bouncing now probably has more to do with the market holding the low than picking a good level. That's just almost luck, to be honest with you.
All right, so we're just going to take, I mean, we right now have, well, we did have at one point there. We're long at 44. We just had 50 cents of the money. We're going to get out if we can back upside there as it just tests 226. There's that Boeing trade that we just talked about. So a nice 50-cent win here if we get out. I mean, we have to get out first. So that'll be 50 cents. We'll wait for it. I still think there's higher. I almost didn't even want to get out right now. We're going to test Palantir one more time on a 19 break as well as the NASDAQ may be making a move. And I think we just took another long there on Palantir 78. You can see my average price still high. We didn't average in too much there, but we'll wait to see on this one. Average price just over 19 right now, and I don't mind a 19 break on this just to see. We have a bottom here, so I mean, worst case scenario, and this is what we talk about when we're talking about risk management, right? Is that this is a 30-cent risk. So if you take 1,000 shares or whatever, you know that your downside, or 100 or 50 or 10, you know that your downside is that 30 cents, and that's how I work, and I try to stick with, you know, that sort of process there when we're trading. And sometimes it's good, and sometimes you get, you know, you take out the low of the day, and that's just what happens, because the low of the day sometimes turns out to be, you know, a good out. Someone asked a question here, so I'm going to talk about it because we do talk about crypto on the show. Richard, so you stare at the ETH chart and you could scalp. Good, $75 to $100. This number doesn't really matter to me. It's just more about that you're making money, so that's good. You own coins. How do you suggest that you trade? Do you buy and sell? So, I mean, basically, you know, I've sort of now went to the part of like, I might just hold my crypto until I retire, because getting in and out of it never seems to make any sense to me, because like you get out when it's like, oh my God, the market's going down, I better get out, right? And so you always get a worse price when you're starting to cash out of your crypto. I find no one ever seems to get out at the high, right? Like who today was long Ether? Put it in the chat. And you actually got out here at 43.50 or something at the all-time high, right? If you did, congratulations. I don't know many people that do that. If anything, people buy on breakouts, right? So what I would say is you should hold something if you're bullish on crypto, because just, if nothing, of what this chart looks like, it's straight to the upside. And I don't know where this stuff stops. So I think you got to have some exposure to crypto. So to answer your question a little bit better, maybe, Richard, would be, you know, figure out what percentage of crypto you want to hold and then trade the rest of it. There are futures you can get involved with as well, both on Ethereum and Bitcoin. And a lot of exchanges, depending on what exchange you're on, you can borrow against your crypto. So if you're staking crypto, they'll let you borrow against that stake. So to me, that would be the right play if you're going to trade it and you want to hold it. Just stake it and borrow against what you've staked to gain that capital to trade the actual coin itself, if that's your preference. What's up, Brandon?
EYES. Lots of people talking about this one, just popping off through that I mentioned 630 wall in the pre-market that finally got broken there. So yeah, big volume coming in here, guys, on this EYES now 31%. I don't see anything new on this, but maybe some stops above that high just got hit.
And that's why my stop was below that high. I didn't want to test that. If it had failed at that break of 640, I probably would have jumped into it. That's not a failure at all. What is failing, and I am out of it, Held all the way to what I think could be close to the bottom on that lemonade. We said 60. I'd probably get out in front of 61s. I had an accidental reversal to the long side, which I punched out for a 5-cent hit. If you get an accidental trade you don't want, do not hold on to it. We like the breakdown at 67. We like the breakdown at 65. We like the rollover at VWAP at 64. If it holds 60 even, I'm likely to try a long trade. I'm going to give it some time to calm down. It still hasn't really pressed through this 61 level. So I'll let this thing calm down. It's down 17%. I don't have to rush into any kind of a long trade. So it's been, obviously Palantir stunk this morning. Everything else is sort of working out here. I haven't really had any hits. Here comes Fubo into that VWAP. I want to make sure I scalp some of this off for the win. You got to take profit on a day like today, especially with some of these long trades, because the follow through hasn't been there. It's like hold on to the shorts and who cares because they've just been falling in the money for you all morning long. As I say that, I did get triggered out of that Virgin Galactic, with some of that Virgin Galactic at 1680. It's now right back to holding this bottom at 75s. So I'm still short this name, and I have been since the morning. You haven't really had to do much. You've been sitting in a good short. So we found that Virgin Galactic. We liked Lemonade from the get-go. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Fubo finally fills in front of VWAP, so we can do a little bit of celebration. I kind of think it's going to have some trouble getting through 21, so I want to make sure I'm sitting up there just on the off chance it makes one of those spikes and I don't notice. The market trying to hold up. The only thing I have to that long side, so long Fubo, short some Virgin Galactic. And if EYES makes a reversal, look, at this point, even if it breaks back below that 640, this is enough for a breakout. I'm not just shorting it if it gets back below 640. It would have had to fail at 650. Clearly that has not happened. It got up as far as 90s. That's why I had my out a little bit tighter than that. I didn't want this breakout to go on me. No obvious levels. 7 is psychological. It would probably have to get to like 8 or 825 before you start thinking about, I just short in front of that level no matter what. Probably 825, not even 7 even for me.
Thank you so much, Richard. Yeah, I'm glad you like that answer. I think it makes sense. Anthony, there's a place called Coinbase. I suggest trading through them. The only thing about Coinbase is if you're looking for all of the coins, Anthony, then Coinbase doesn't list all of them, but they do list Cardano, which is still 173 right now and ripping. Doge not ripping, it's staying there, but good move. Dogecoin 47 cents right now. They don't have Dogecoin on Coinbase, so we're not affiliated with any exchange. So I would just say the reason why people have questions, and I'll go to Coin. Actually, I want to look at Coin. Was just looking at Fubo as well. I like Coinbase because they're a major company now. They have major backings. Obviously, they're a public company, and there's a lot of worry sometimes about safety of coins and being on exchange, hacked, and so on and so forth. And again, I don't know if Coinbase has better security than some of the other ones. There's so many. There's Kraken, there's Bitfinex, there's Binance. Binance gets a lot, BINANCE. They get a lot of love as well from the crypto community. So Binance even has their own coin. So I would say depending, we're in Canada, so funding of said accounts could be a little more difficult, but do your research. And I would say at this point, if it's a major crypto exchange, they've probably got their security on lockdown. And to me, that's the biggest worry, right, is how secure is the exchange. And I do also have cold storage, right? So I do also take my coins off exchange as well. So I don't hold them all on exchange just in case something, does go awry. But, again, I do have full trust in Coinbase. And again, not affiliated, so I don't recommend anybody, but just if I were to go somewhere and I wanted to buy Ether or something, I would go to Coinbase. Here's 19. Let's test it out here. Palantir maybe back from the dead. I don't mind this 19 break. Probably should have been a little bit earlier, like at 1890 or something. But here comes 19. Worth averaging in a bit. If it does go back down, I think we'll start to bid in the 90s just in case it doesn't break. Right now, we'll take a little bit of a better price. But I like this spot here into the bottom of Palantir. I don't know if we get the run like we did yesterday, but hopefully we get something here for Palantir, guys.
And as you see the market trying to creep back up here, you start looking at some of these depressed names. Facebook, low of 299. Check that. 6 pennies below that price. It's trying to get back above that 300 mark as we speak, with the market trying to bounce. I kind of like this look here as it's holding this, trying to break out this 300. Last time it got to the quarters, and then reversed. If it can break through 325, I'm going to go into the long in Facebook. And again, you can try and start thinking about where the bottom is going to be. We're running now 60 pennies in the money on that Fubo, and probably want to take $1 to $1.25 out of that one on the bottom. I want to see if Facebook can participate a little bit here with the market trying to hold up. Down 2% on the NASDAQ. I mean, the ES is right at that 2%, right at that 1.2% mark or close to it, and both trying to make that bottom. There goes Facebook. It just ticked. Yeah, I just got in. I got 24s there. Anyway, so just got logged into Facebook off of this mini breakout, and hopefully the future's turning around a bit. Brendo.
Just seeing this BRN. I don't think it's not. This is Barnwell Industries, not who is on that other channel right now. BRN on the NYSE Arc Exchange popping up here on volume, guys. They did report this morning, but a little one to watch out for, Barnwell Industries.
You only want to say that one because BRN, Brendo, for sure. Why not, man? I like it. Look, it's all about getting that actionable news. There's been so much that's happening today with the market. Not probably as crazy as yesterday's action, but holding some of those lows. We talked about this on Hump Day. You get that kind of a pullback in the market, and it's going to be an important session today. Can you hold some of those gains? And I think we're finding here, the market's trying to make a bottom and having some more trouble doing so, quite honestly with you. So I got this Facebook. I'm going to give it to the low of the day, about $1.25 worth of risk. If you get any kind of recovery in the VWAP, that's 1-to-1. If it pushes into that 303, you take the rest out for maybe a 2-to-1, something along those lines. That can be your plan. Now, if we're making a fresh run into what looks like a positive on the ES or halfway on the NASDAQ, yeah, you can pull that 303 and look for 305. But Facebook was the one that had an entry point that I kind of liked, so that's why I jumped into it. Tried to give it to you as quick as possible. Now, not in as many names. It's been very, very busy this morning. Usually, it's not this way. But I'm at 249 fills on the session. Some of that is trading some buyouts, which are free money, but the rest of it has been pretty active. Those shorts were basically free money, holding on to them, and then thank God we got out of that eyes, because 675, it's holding those tops. If it breaks 7, watch out for that 825. It could get there, believe me.
Okay, we believe you. We believe you. And I'm trying to believe in Palantir right now, as we took a few more bids. We took 79s, we took 94s, and then we take O's or O1s. I actually got a good fill there on a break and just took something out there on that moon. But to the moon right now, hopefully not too far to the moon because they're a plane, goes Boeing right now. 225.40 long, took that 50 cents out there. We were waiting for that fill. It does come back in. You could have got it again, but we waited for that one as we were just looking at other things. Didn't want to average in. We did have an average in down here, 25.10, something like that. So we don't get our average price, which is a shame because now it's all the way back up. But one fill and in right now on I was going to say Baba, but it's Boeing right now. Good talk for Boeing today. We talked about that as well. Apparently the FAA, some commissioner, Federal Aviation Administrator, says he's absolutely confident now about the safety of the 737. So we'll go long and we'll hold them to that here, and we'll hope that continues to go upside. Here's Palantir. We're long at O's, and let's see. We want to give it back at least probably to 70 here, but I am not prone to scalping it out, as you guys know. So if we can get, I've been looking at VWAP for a while. It also coincides with 25, so that's a big level for me. So if we can get up to there, anywhere near there, we'll take some out, but I am watching Palantir move here, and let's hopefully we do have that bump again. I mean, we're not expecting that bump that we had yesterday, but a little bit of a bump up, at least to get out some shares here at 1920s or so would be nice for Palantir, and we'll turn this day around, guys.
Yeah, and Facebook already testing that 301, so that kind of working out about 50, 60 cents in the money. I'm looking at Chris here, and I see you guys hollering about it. It's been a busy morning, obviously, with a lot of trades going through, of course. Yeah, this is a bit extreme, and you go back to the 15, you can't find anything in sight, and when I see these halts, I tend to, you saw what happened in that RMED, I really wanted it to calm down. That has not happened in this stock. I kind of feel like when I see this and I don't really know exactly what's going on, the first things first is take the hands on the keyboard and don't go crazy until A, I know what if any actionable news is going on with the stock, or B, it doesn't feel like it's about to halt any second now, which if it breaks this 15, I think you're looking at another successive halt from a 9 break and another halt. So I'd watch out if you're shorting this name. I wouldn't be. just off a 2-second look at it. And if I was long, I wouldn't hold through a halt that's gone this parabolic. I'd be wanting to cover that before it goes into a halt state because it could snap back pretty quickly. Brendo?
Yeah, so it looks like they reported some new data on a leukemia treatment. So the CA4948, which is their file name for this current trial. So a phase 1/2 study of this myeloid leukemia study data, guys.
Okay, what was that name?
DRIS.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, we just talked about that in our chat. Okay, so we'll have a quick look here. 1560. This is what you wait for, right? When you're when you're an investor in some of these names, you wait for that news to come through, and then you get this, right? So you hold out for it for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden, bang, they obviously had something come through before, back in December of this year. So basically a monster move up, and now they're just repeating that again today. This is what I mean. Wow, like you want to throw some darts. People look at crypto and stuff like that. You can equate something like this to crypto as we are now ripping to the upside. Chris, right now, 16, those are pretty key levels. Without knowing too much about the short or what this exactly means, a nice 55% up, possibly a buyout target with that news. So watch out for 16 to break on this name, but very, very volatile. Good bringing this one up.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it looks like it's trying to slow down here, but just not enough for me to be to get involved. And I did check. It is like easy to be able to short for us at Day Trade the World, at least. I'm not sure for everybody else. Just to update that Facebook, it does pump in like past that 301. We're able to take like nearly a buck on the trade as it breaks 301 out in front of you up, like I said. If it pushes higher, I'll look to that 303 area. I think at this point, if the market can't really break any higher than this, I mean, ES still holding below, just down like 1% and change. I probably won't reload unless it gets down to like 299.5 or so. So I want a better price if I'm getting more shares back into it. So I'll just go with that. Speaking of the bounce, I did hang on to some of these Virgin Galactic shares because I feel like I have to be short something. And then this happens. So I did put a trail in here to make sure I got some out at 1680. All my shorts have been either up here in the 70s or at the absolute worst 1738 on Virgin Galactic. 54 is the shares that I have left in terms of an average price. That is a bit of a strong move, but it wasn't a huge volume spike on this. It was basically the same volume was doing the entire way. So I'm not going to get out of it just yet. I'll probably give these all the way back into 1725 to 35, where I'd be considering a reload anyways. So still short space, still working, no troubles there. But if you're going to get a turnaround in that Facebook, you know that stupid, frustrating Fubo can't get past VWAP either. I don't even know if I want to average back into this, to be perfectly honest with you. It's having so much trouble going. If the futures are going to make a bottom, and it's not going to make a press through VWAP, at some point I still think it can get to 21s, but I'll give up the ghost. If it breaks the current low of the day, I'm out. I'm not even trying again on Fubo, so that's 1935. If it cannot get through like this 2035 and at least press 21s, that is a pretty weak chart that if it was a small cap, if it was one of these other small caps that was gapping up, I'd be looking to short it on every single pop. So I'm sitting here trying to go long. It's worked a little bit. I'm done. No more Fubo. It either wins here or it doesn't. Low of the day, and I'm out.
Low of the day? Oh, my God.
Yeah, 1930. No, if it hits 1935, it's not at the low of the day.
Okay, I was going to say.
If it breaks,
okay, good. Yeah.
If it breaks 1935, which is low since the open,
right,
not this ridiculous dark pool print, then I'm out of it.
Okay, I was going to say what just happened because I was looking at that. I was like, low of the day. Okay, good call there. All right, so look. I try to click on the stock. There it goes. Palantir. So I said I was going to hold for 20s where VWAP is, but it's just I've just gotten some out at 12s. Maybe I can zoom this in a little bit. Here we go. Sorry, 10s and then 12s is the best out. It's stopped here, which again, guys, I do believe in the NASDAQ rebound here a little bit. So there is that. And yeah, if it can get going, then we'll take it. But we're at this pushing spot here again on the NASDAQ where we did have some bottoms here broken, retested, broken back again. So let's see if it can get going here. I just took some out. We still have more than half for sure of our position. So we're waiting on Palantir. We'll try to make some money back here. And nothing. If this goes to 20, we can make back what we lost if I don't get any out. But I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll wait to see that coming back. And then I am going to get out right here. You see some tops here. We've been getting out before on this print. So if we can get 20s, 25s. I'm actually sitting right now at 17 right now on Palantir to see if we can get a little bit of some love on that one. Checking back, crypto not doing too much. We looked at NEO today a little bit. This was a frustrating one. Mostly, I mean, pretty much, besides Palantir, all the hits have been pretty small because we've done a good job of taking profits when they've been there, but a lot of things have cracked on us, right? And so one thing that I don't want to have crack right now is Boeing. This goes $1 in the money for us, and we don't take it, but that high, the news is already out, so I'm debating right now just taking this Boeing out right now and just taking this another 50 cents on this. It makes sense to me to do this. The news is out on the FAA. We get a bump up in the market now, so that's given us that out. So let's take Boeing out right here. The show's getting close to the end now. That doesn't matter. I'll hold things through the show, but I do think that if we can get another bump like the 26.20 or so, we'll get out of Boeing. So let's put an offer there, 26.20. We'll get out of Boeing and celebrate what at that point will be an 80-cent win. So hopefully that can come through, and we'll watch our Palantir continue to go to the upside, and we'll hold out for Boeing upside as well.
Speaking of upside, eyes continue to press through. Like I say this in retrospect, in hindsight is always 2020. You guys know that saying, it's true. But some of these outs, you got to think, I have to start thinking about capitalizing on reversals at least sometimes because there you go. I mean, it goes to $7. It's starting to roll over. I've missed this one. But what I just noticed is, I mean, I hit like 250 trades. I mean, I'm sure Sean is at like, I'm going to guess like a 150 to 200 at the low end. We're at 1,300 likes, and I had to refresh because thank you very much, YouTube. That doesn't seem to work tracking it. I cannot believe on a morning like this where it's crazy active. We got Jeff Mendel to come on talk about the OTC markets. We're trying to bring that through to you. We had Raheem. I mean, look, we have everything for you guys here, and we're putting in work. It's kind of crazy, and I can't even catch a breath here or even refill my water bottle. But hit the like, hit the subscribe. But the most important thing, Sean always says this. Take a couple of seconds to share because I can't tell you guys on a morning where I've been distracted by the symbols that I was in, if it wasn't for the community saying, look at Chris, look at Ahmed, right? Like I wasn't trading Ahmed. Look at Ahmed. Great short on that one. There was an opportunity. This is how you grow as a trader because you cannot catch everything. I don't care who you are. Yeah, we're going to do some of that work for you with the free watch list, obviously, and trading what we're seeing. But a lot of it has to do with like that crowdsourcing. That's the value of a trading floor, which ours is empty, of course, because of COVID. Thank you very much. But take full advantage, share as much as you can, grow that community. You guys are already the best. Let's just try to make it even better.
Yep, and that's the share thing, right? You got to share it if you like the show. Please do that because, like Neil just mentioned, we're trying to put in the work there. Palantir goes all the way back down, and I was not able, or did I get the bid? No, I didn't. We were bidding 94s or 93s. Double check it. Bidding. No, actually, my bid was at 87. So we waited a little bit less than that right now. But we'll cancel my 97 bid. Maybe we get another bit of love there, but that's why we got out, right? We talked about that on Palantir. It's been a rough ride for that stock today. Chris does take out that 16, now 16.10. Oh, damn it. Another name that was missed on this bounce back, man. We talked about Roblox hitting downside there on this move yesterday, right? This is that little bottom, where was it? Right in here, where we had some consolidation. We tested back to 71.50 today. We actually went down to 71 there before a bounce back. So yesterday's Roblox trade, 71. Let's look at that number. It's right here, right? That's this consolidation, 70, 70, 80, 71. So you could have basically took this for a little bit of a ride yesterday, and then today Roblox gives you that same 71 bottom again. The reason why we mention it, it's just that you want to sometimes go back to some names that are high flyers, like that Fubo, names that we know have a chance to go, so that when the market does finally get going, and if it does, right? If it does. The NASDAQ was down 2.2. It's come back a little bit. That's a name that you want to get. So you got to have a name like Roblox always on your shopping list. That's why I went back to NEO. Like, we didn't even really do too much pre-market work with NEO, but we did have another look at it because we know that if the market does have its big move, one way or the other, that will move. So we can sort of add Roblox to that. I like to add AMD to that as well. Not so much Microsoft. NEO's been on Facebook, I think. That's another name that can move on a market mover, because you think Facebook is going to move like 5 or 6 pennies, but it really moves like that's like the spread when it starts to get going. Like, look at that, see right there, right on cue there, 4 or 5 pennies on a move. So you got to watch out for Facebook on any battle back. I still love that 300 bid on Facebook.
I can't believe there's only 5 minutes left, and it's just always, sometimes it feels like it always happens as we're getting out of here, that one of these like high flyers, I'm talking about Chris, I didn't have any obvious levels or reasons to get into the short, and then it goes right up to the 1750, and look at the hard rejection. Sometimes it's easier to follow a rollover or follow some selling into one of these trades as opposed to finding a level, and I'm telling you, there's a 16 iceberg sitting here, like it's been tested this level, there's been some buyers here holding it up. This is a consolidation that usually, whatever. I'd be all over, but there's just something about this stock right now. And I don't know, I'm being honest, I don't know what it is. I just don't feel confident short. It's weird because it's probably a setup that would have been okay. Maybe you give it back to like a 16.50 on a tight stop, you risk 50 cents, it gets to 15 or VWAP, you got the good risk to reward. There's something about this thing that I just don't love there. Someone was jamming shares at 16, and even as it broke, there's the bid. Like there's no carry through, like it breaks that 16. There's nobody offering chunks or selling below that price. Like where were the stops that are triggering in? So I don't know what it is about Chris. I'm sure when we come back at 315, we'll have either traded it, be in it, or be looking at it for sure. For now, my hands are off this one. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Palantir bid. Boeing's come back down a little bit. Been a rough ride for some of the longs today, and some of them have been nice. Look at the market, though, coming back in. We just tried Hertz there, breaking through 5, and it didn't do anything. So we got out for a 5-cent hit there on Hertz. Some action there. Ever since Jeff came on, it's been a nice little march to 5, printing back to 90s right now. So that's Hertz. And then our Boeing, probably should have taken that profit there on BA, and we missed the boat on BA there, and we let that ride a little bit too much there. So, Brendan, give it to us, bud.
All right, guys. Wow, it is kind of busy. Just going to mention some earnings. A couple of minutes to go here. Make sure you come back this afternoon, though, at 3:15 and join us for the last 45 minutes of the day. We will discuss earnings again before they come out after 4 o'clock. But here we go. Aftermarket tonight or before the open tomorrow.
Hey-o. I mean, my eyes, of course, I recognize Playboy. I don't know why is that. But Alibaba, obviously, without saying, Alibaba is the one that I'm interested in.
I'm like, really over Alibaba? I was going to say that. Obviously, I don't care. Well, probably don't care about Kodak, but XPeng going to be on that list. I thought I saw Bumble on there.
Yeah, you did.
Maybe I'm getting old, man, because I thought I saw it maybe somewhere on there. I couldn't find it. But they're getting crushed today. On the lows, down like 7%. So that feels like it's going to be a volatile name for the list in either direction here. But yeah, Bumble's on there. And of course, XPeng, let's be honest, that's going to be a big mover as well. You got to stick to what you know and what works well. That's why like Virgin Galactic and some of the other names. And you got to look. You trade what you know and trade the setups that work, regardless of what is actually moving in the markets, and then follow along just in case you see some missed opportunities. Yes. Every single day this week, it just makes me hungrier and hungrier. These get better, these national days, as the week progresses. Valeria, I think you make them up because that's what you want for dessert. But anyways, let's find out what the national date is from Miss V.
I swear, Neil, it's official national days. I'm not making up anything. Well, guys, thank you very much for spending this trading morning with us. Thank you for all the support, for watching the show, for all the comments and likes. Guys, we will be back as usual at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time to trade the close. So rest well. We'll see you back here, and happy National Nutty Fudge Day, everyone.
Nutty fudge. Yeah, I mean, look, fudge is okay. We've talked about this. I don't have the biggest sweet tooth, but throw some nuts in there. I think it makes it better.
Yeah, my daughter would disagree. She won't. Doesn't matter how good the chocolate or the fudge is. If you put anything in there that's not straight chocolate, she's just like, no, can't have it. Look, I'm all over it. I'll take it all day long. Whatever. I mean, you kind of have these, and it's like we never get any of that for lunch, and now I'm just like super hungry and super tired. It's been one of those mornings for sure. Brendan, you always give us like a take on this, which is unique. When there's any kind of dessert, you always have something, so I'm putting you on the spot. What is your secret to fudge?
Nutty fudge. I don't think I have one. Yeah, I'm going to pass on nutty fudge, guys. That is my take.
So anyone looking for a job? Brendan, no, just, yeah.
Everybody likes fudge.
No,
No,
too
not
sweet,
everybody.
man. Way too sweet.
Not everybody. Okay, well, that's that comment on fudge. I did want to talk quickly about here Okay, so Sean, perfect short off today, head and shoulders off Roblox, okay? We talked about Roblox a little bit there. Thank you for bringing that up. And then this one, I'm guessing there's supposed to be a D here. How can you get a hold of Day Trade the World, DTTW? I'm surprised no one's hit you up. So if you want to, I don't know what to do, but I would just say keep sending an email to them. I believe there's a chat on their website, daytradetheworld.com. I don't know of an email that they're currently using, but we can find out and I can have that for you tomorrow on the show. But I just think it's probably sales at daytradetheworld.com.
Honestly, like to be honest, like, or you could like if you tweet at one of us or like throw it on the community page or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
trust
that's a
me,
good
we'll
one.
get
Tweet
you
at
guys
me.
linked up because like don't worry, we'll take care of you in that regard. So any of those ways are possible. But if last resort, just tweet at any one of us or fire us a DM, and we'll do that for you guys. It is 11:30. We got a lot to get to. Of course, come right back. 3:15, you guys know it, and we're going to be back to trade the closing. You know it's going to be wild. Can't promise it'll be green, and that's Miss V's fault because she's not wearing the green.
Always.
But for the entire team, for Valeria, I'm kidding, obviously. For Brendan, who hates fudge, I don't get it. For my man, John Katina, I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. We'll see you at the close.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.